Mic check to the gods. Mic check to the gods. How we doing out there? Here we go.
It is time to match the energy. Let's feel the energy.
J.F.K. in the mix.
Come on.
Get up. Get up. Stomp your feet and get down.
Match the energy. Turbulence in the chat keeps the plane running. We are all we got. The pivot is magical. What?
Shadow.
Everything comes from the stoop. Everything.
I got something on my mind. Nowhere else, no. Lord, take me downtown to you. Baby, show me love, but I can't take it. What I said was true, real pain, can't fake it. Still they wanna be with me, still they wanna live with me, still they wanna feel like me, still I can't believe it's me.
Wow.
Time you spend with me has been
Got turbulence in the chat right off the bat. Got Chimmy coming through. Got Valley Girls for the jukebox. Man, $50. Thank you so much, Valley Girl. I got you. Something on my mind for sure, Chimmy. Sunny and Yellow. You know how we do it. Yeah, we are here, man. Fresh off of last night's stream. Last night's stream was cool, man. It was cool. I see you atting me on Twitter, Amy. Amy, the girl Amy in that live stream last night. She's at me all on Twitter. She's saying that I was mean. I think she said I was mean. Do you guys think I was mean? It's not me. I was playing. Amy. Come on, stop it. Definitely wasn't mean. And I played that. If you guys didn't watch last night's stream, go ahead and check that out right now. You know how this goes, right? This is the afternoon throwdown, and Loophole Lawyer, man, he got Higgins spun. Loophole Lawyer is spinning Higgins all the way out. He's spun out. But yeah, last night towards the end of the stream, I went over ATS news. She was talked about the division in the community. I touched upon that because I feel like that's important. It's important to me. It's not about thin skin. I think Amy's trying to go there. I think she's doing a live tonight. So, Amy, check this out. I'm gonna promote your show. Everybody go check out Amy's show. I guess she's doing a show. I don't know what time, but she added me on Twitter. I happen to see it. She's a little pissed off. Something about correcting the record. I think I corrected the record. I mean, I was just talking about burnt raisins. That's what happens at 3:30 in the morning in Planet Fitness. You run into burnt raisins. They're human raisins. They're burnt. And their business model is very simple at Planet Fitness. It's if you can't tone it, tan it. They don't go to use the weights. They don't go to use the squat racks. They don't go to use the machines. They definitely ain't at the pull-up bar. They head straight to the tannin booth. But before they do, they usually grab a little packet of the tannin cream. Is that the right way to say it? Tannin cream? I don't know what the hell it is. Tannin oil? I mean, what the fuck is going on? I don't know. They usually put that on themselves. And then they walk over to the tannin section and yeah, they come out smelling. They smell like burnt transmission fluid. So we were talking about burnt raisins, human raisins. It's a good model. You can't tone it, tan it. I mean, I get it. Everybody looks better tan. I get it. But I be putting in work, So, I go hard, man. I actually hurt my AC joint in my shoulder. It's kind of like Kind of uncomfortable today. Last couple days, kind of pissed off about that, to be honest with you. Um, because I was actually in a car accident. Would you believe it, Mo Esquire? I was actually in a car accident and my AC joint got hurt in my shoulder, but I was faking an injury. But disclaimer, me and Mo are cool, but yeah, kind of aggravated that situation again. Ah, goddamn. I swear the devil be working overtime, Jimmy. Yeah, so when you're walking through Planet Fitness at 2:30 in the morning. I was at Planet Fitness last night. What do you think happened after this live stream? What do you think I did, Amy? I didn't go to sleep. I didn't go to the Oreo cookie cabinet. Definitely didn't do that. I grabbed a Ghost Energy. Probably wasn't the smartest thing to do. You really want to know what happened? I'll tell you exactly what happened after that live stream. After that live stream last night, right as I hit the button and got up out of there, my phone rang. You know who it was? It was Kevy Kev 781 calling me up. He's like, "What up, man? I checked out the live stream, man." He was like, "Man, good show, man. Good show." I'm like, "Thanks, Kev, man." He was like, "I couldn't come up because I had some shit going on." I said, "Man, don't worry about it, Kevy. Don't even worry about it." So he was just talking to me about some things and filling me in on some things. He was kind of confused about the ATS news stuff. He didn't know who they were, and he was like, "What's up with that?" I was like, "I don't know, man. It's not that serious. I just, you know, anytime I could correct the record, why not?" But like I said, I did that towards the end of the show, so it wasn't like the whole show. But Amy from Boston, she wants to make it a thing, I guess, on her show. So, Amy, I'm plugging you, Amy, because I'm not a hater. I'm not a hater, Amy. I'm not a hater. Excuse me, hater, whatever. I'm not a hater. Go ahead. Hopefully, you keep it respectful. Can you keep it respectful? I thought I kept it respectful. I mean, I was just talking about burnt raisins. I was talking about because when you're in Planet Fitness at this time of night, you do run into these human raisins, and they all have CVS big long receipts with them. That as they're walking in, they got these long receipts, and they have like they always got like a little bag with them and shit. You know what I mean? And at any given time, it could be shaving cream, Good News raises, um, and then they usually go right. Because when you walk into Planet Fitness, right at the desk, they got Tootsie Rolls. So they usually grab a whole handful of Tootsie Rolls and throw it in their bag too, because they need the fucking Tootsie Rolls. They need the Tootsie Rolls for sure. And they have one of the stupid cups, sucking on the cup. Who knows what's in that cup? Could be vodka. Who knows? Could be milk, spoiled milk, nasty milk. Definitely wasn't raw milk, Jimmy. Definitely wasn't raw milk. No. Yeah, so I went to the gym last night. Yep. I worked out for sure. Even with a fucking shoulder issue that sucks. But whatever. I worked through it. Um, I actually I mean, I was killing the pull-ups last night, man. I was feeling real strong last night. See, so what I did was right when I got up, I went to the refrigerator and grabbed an ice cold Ghost Energy. Probably wasn't the right thing to do at that time. I think I ended the stream at like 12:30, 1 a.m. or something stupid. And I'm drinking a Ghost Energy. Like, who does this? But I do shit like this. And I'm talking to Kevy the whole time. And Kevy's ready to go to sleep. Kevy's ready to sleepy weepy. He got to go to work at 6 a.m. Me, I got to get up too. Don't get it twisted. JFK gets up every morning at 6 a.m., 6:30, 7, depends. But right around that pocket, I get up. But I got to go to the gym. You think I'm not going to the gym? What are we doing here? What are we doing? We're not going to the gym? Oh, because what? It's late? Oh, no, 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 Amy. We're going to the fucking gym. 1000% we're going to the gym. I got to go to the gym. I'm tired. I was falling asleep. So when I get to so I grab my Ghost Energy, I grab my creatine, I take a scoop of the creatine, just like weirdos do it. I just stick the whole powder in my mouth and I guzzle my water. You know what I mean? I do it like the muscle head way, right? So all the powder in your mouth and shit. Tastes nasty, but whatever. You get used to it. It's an acquired taste. But I got the creatine mixed with the citrulline, and I love the creatine mixed with the citrulline because it gives you a good pump. You need that nitrous, that watermelon type pump. You know what I'm saying? If that makes sense. Probably doesn't make sense to some people, but makes sense to other people. So I get to gym's not too far from where I'm at. I get down to the gym and I'm talking to Kevy Kev, and Kev's like, "Yeah, man, let me let you go, man. I'm going." I said, "All right, Kev, no problem, man." So I'm sitting there and I'm still sipping on this ghost energy, man. And yeah, man, I'm just sitting there and I'm thinking, man, I'm just reflecting. I'm looking at people, man, and and I get out the car and it's 75 degrees out, and I just start walking. There's a little area to walk. So I just, did some laps, probably, I don't know. I don't know what I walked, but I like to walk. So I just kept walking until I felt like I didn't want to walk no more. And I was tired, man. I was tired, but I went to that gym and I worked out and I got a good workout. And I came home, I went to sleep, I woke up and I got to work again. And here I am, bang, boom, pow. Here we go. Mic check to the gods. Would you believe it? Gotta do it. You gotta do it. But yeah, Amy, if you're watching, you probably are watching Amy. Amy used to be a mod on this channel too. I don't know what happened, why she's not a mod no more, but she used to be a mod on this channel. So, like, and that's what people gotta understand. Like Amy from Boston, she's been around just as long as I've been around. Um, with this Karen Reed stuff. James Jackson. I assume so. I think so. She's been around a long time. So I know. And she didn't say anything wrong. She just had an opinion. She just had some of the facts twisted. And I just ask questions. So I hope that she doesn't, turn heel on me and hit me with a stunner and leave me in the middle of the ring. I hope she I hope she plays nice. But she was saying that we basically manipulate our audience, that we lie when we say we don't want Turtle Boy in jail. Like how could I seen Colin too? I went back and I watched some of the chat. I do that from time to time. I check on the chat, man. I'm not gonna lie, man. I pay attention to what's going on because I want to know who's in this chat on my side and who's on this in this chat to kind of like judgy, that thinks I'm a bullshit artist. I don't want that energy. I don't want someone to watch me or be in my chat, right? I'd rather you be watching me like just watching versus in my chat, kicking it with the long gamers, saying that you're a part of this, long game university community. But in reality, you don't believe anything I'm saying. You think I'm a weirdo. You think I'm a liar. You think I really want to see this guy, Turtle Boy, locked up. And I hate even mentioning his name, but I seen Colin in there. He's like, at this point, do you think that JFK doesn't want him in jail? I seen that, Colin. I think you're wrong, my dude. I think you're wrong about that. I think what you got to understand is what I'm talking about. I'm talking about I'm talking about the Commonwealth trying to lock him up. You do know that, right? He's got a court case, he's indicted. I'm not talking about me wanting him in jail. I'm talking about how the Commonwealth wants him in jail. I'm talking about it from the Commonwealth of Massachusetts standpoint. That's what I'm interested in. I'm interested in the case itself, not even really him, just the case. Do you know I almost caught a case, Colin? Would you believe it? I almost caught a case. I almost caught a witness intimidation case. That's crazy by a Fed this late in the game in my life. And I know people are going to say, damn, JFK, man, you're going to ride this out. You're going to beat this shit up. Well, listen, man, I didn't really get that much time to think about this, to be real with you. I mean, this just came out, what, a couple of days ago. And the more and more I think about it, I'm like, wow, imagine at this age that I am catching a witness intimidation case, like having a court case at this age. That's an embarrassment to me, you know, because it's expected, right? Like, man, it's just embarrassing to me, man. That's fucking embarrassing to me, embarrassing to my family. Like if I would have picked up a court case, that shit's embarrassing. That shit triggers so many emotions with me, man. What up, sturdy girl? Dang, I'm late. These storage units. That's all right. E-Pags with a reminder Tupac trial starts in 7 days. I know. That's wild. I had to agree. Oh, I'm behind in the chat. Great afternoon, JFK Cookie Dance and the singer. What could be better for a Monday? For sure. It is. What is it? It's the first of the month too, right? Jimmy speaks up good. There she is. Damn, bossy. You guys got to calm down with these immaculate pitches, man. Bossy's just that she ain't playing games, huh, Bossy? And remember, this Thursday we will be picking the top five avatars. We will be picking the top five. Nina Marie coming through, got another immaculate. We got some good ones so far that I see starting the week off strong. So far, I see Bossy, goddamn Bossy. Nina Marie coming in strong. Lana coming in strong. I'm pretty sure the Commonwealth will not allow TB to continue acting the way he has been. They know he will be more. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, her avatar game is fire for sure. My YouTube notice failed me. I'm late. No worries, Becky. J.F.K. dressed Boston proud today. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I do that from time to time. I do that from time to time. You know what I mean? Break out a jersey here and there, you know? I feel like I'm in a fabulous video. Baby girl, you know the situation. God damn, Jimmy. You know what I'm talking about. Fuck. Uh, how do you do the avatar? Well, you just add a picture to your account. Love the hat and jersey, JFK. Thank you, Michigan girl. Another immaculate avatar, Michigan girl. Rose D, there she is, the girl. What up, Rose D? The other Mary B is here. JFK is the one who said the Commonwealth gets created. If they want to put a charge on you, they'll find a way to do it, as we can see. There she is, the other Mary B. Another nice avatar by Mary B. Mary B is a mystical. Is that the right word? She got mystique. Mary B. Got mystique to her. Oxymoron, which is a good thing. Fabulous, right? I feel like I'm in that video and shit. Baby girl. Goddamn. Boston Brandy. Everybody do the Boston Brandy. Yeah, so for sure. I haven't really got a chance to think about that. Like I said, about the like charges and stuff. So the name of this live stream is Afternoon Throwdown. Loophole Lawyer got Higgins spun out. I mean, Loophole Lawyer. Loophole Lawyer boy, he's not playing games with Higgins. Um, he goes hard on Higgins, man. He's a funny dude. And oh, there we go. I didn't know that, Mary B. I was wrong. I apologize. But um he's crazy, man. Well, he's not crazy. He just has a he's just like bring the noise, you know, so to speak. I mean, he's inviting them, you know. Loophole Lawyer is a racist. Is he? Is that factual? I didn't know that. Loophole Lawyer, you got to watch him. He outed Melanie Little's children and everything. I mean, this is all factual. Is this real? What you're saying? I mean, he has the same interest as us, though, right? I mean, that doesn't. I don't know why people say that. Why doesn't Loophole ever go at anyone else? Only Higgins. I don't. I think he's just convinced Higgins did it. Oh, he has a black father, huh? Oh, so Loophole Lawyer is half black? No shit. Would you believe it? One of my boys looks like that too. My boy Hunter, man. He's his father's black, but he looks white. You would never think that he had black in him. Wild. No, actually, I'm lying. His father's white. His mother's black and Puerto Rican. Bet you He looks white. Loophole is a Fruit Loop for sure. Wow, you guys don't like Loophole Lawyer, huh? I got no problem with Loophole Lawyer. I don't know about that racist stuff. I ain't never seen him say anything racist. I think that's like a is that like a I mean, I don't know. You guys could be right, right? And that's your opinion. I never see no shit like that, and we know I'm not with all that either. I'm not with that bullshit. Ah, Jesus. Did I just get myself in trouble? Trying to compare his witness attention with others is no comparison. Mick Turtle was bullying, harassing, and stalking people, lots of toilets for him to fix in jail. But see, that's like, let's talk about that, right? Like, that's the conflict, right? So, how can you guys say that, right? I'm trying to get it on. That's okay if you guys say that, right? If you say you just want him to go to jail, right? But I think you should just say that. I got no reason to. Oh man, come on, man. Nah, 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 nah. I'm not doing that. No, 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 no. I'm not doing that. What does this kid's got to do with anything, man? I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. I am not doing that. Please don't do that shit in this chat. Please do not mention homeboy's children, bro. His kids got nothing to do with it. His kids look at him as dad. They don't look at him as Turtle Boy. So please stop that bullshit. We ain't gonna do that. 1000% we ain't doing that. Definitely. That shit is wrong, wrong, wrong. So clip that. Don't do that shit. Don't do that shit. Don't please. That shit pisses me off. Don't do that shit. Don't do that shit. Please don't do that shit. Don't do that shit. Don't do that shit. Nah, we ain't doing that. We 1000% ain't doing that.
Kill that noise!
Anyway, mic check to the gods. Thank you, chat, for having my back. Appreciate that, guys. Long gamers. We're not doing that shit. But the point is, man, the concept is a conflict, and I know it's riddles. I know JFK is he's acting like the Riddler again. But it is though, right? Because I get it. Some people don't like his behavior, right? But if you got to look at this from the perception of a judge, right? When I say that, I talked about this last night. Years ago, I had a judge that did not like me, and I went to a bench trial, probably the worst judge in this district. And I went to a bench trial, and he told me right before he handed down his verdict that based on your you know, this is years and years and years and years ago. This is when I still was in early 20s. So let's be clear, a long time ago. Let's be clear about that. And it wasn't for nothing serious, for some bullshit, for something I didn't even do. Right. And this is real talk. And one day I will, when I can put it all together, and I tell this story that I used to have this this case with me everywhere I went. I used to have all the paperwork and all different things. And I had this all because I always wanted to tell this story in a way back in the early 2000s. I had a camcorder. I knew about editing and videography way back then. I had videos when I was 15 years old. So I've been doing videos ever since it was film, right? So let's be clear. So I always wanted to do something on this. Then one day I decided to take all this case, all the paperwork, all the motions, everything, the witnesses, the statements, the lies, and I took it, I put it in a bag when I moved to another place. And I used to take it, throughout my journey. I used to have, when you move to a different spot, I used to take it with me, right? And one day I seen it and I just took it and I threw it in the trash. And I said, I'm done talking about that shit. I'm good with it. It's a crazy story. It kind of triggers my manic, my passion, my quirks, my flaws. We all know I like to talk and I might over talk sometimes, and I know it can trigger that. And I'm like, you know what? I'm good with that. It's not really doing anything. And the popular belief, I do take my own inventory and I try to pay attention to me and my conscience, that fucking voice that nags at you. And it's scary when that voice starts talking, It's scary. But yeah, so I threw it away. And one day, unfortunately, now I'm doing this, and I would love to talk about it now. I don't know where to start, how to find all this stuff. But yeah, one day maybe I'll bring it up. I know the lawyer that I had at one time on the case is still around. Maybe I can hit him up, bring him on, and he could tell you about what I went through a little bit and how I acted and hit through his lens, how I reacted to being charged with something I didn't do and my reactions. But um, the point is, the judge told me in a bench trial, that's how confident I was that the case was bullshit. In a bench trial, based on, of all the things that you did in your life, I should be finding you guilty on this. Like, no bullshit. He said this. I'm not even making this up. And he goes, "But I can't do that because of interest of justice." And he said, "Not guilty." And that's when the Michael Jackson music came on, and I did the moonwalk right out the courthouse. Woo, 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 woo. Right? Okay, but JFK and James didn't do anything wrong yet. There's a letter. Yes. Okay. She's talking to someone else. All right. So the point is, that's the way I look at the Turtle Boy case. You know what I mean? I look at it from that lens. Like, it doesn't make a difference. And honestly, I don't hate Turtle Boy. Why would I hate another man? Like, I think that's stupid. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't hate him. I don't know him enough to even hate him, to be honest with you. You know what I mean? And he doesn't know me enough to hate me. And that's just facts. I mean, can we all agree on that? Like, I don't know the dude. I don't know him, and he don't know me. I don't hate him. I just don't approve of some things. But lately, what has he done? He hasn't did shit, right? And what have I done? I haven't did anything that's been out of the community guidelines. We just been existing, right? Talking a little shit here and there. Who gives a fuck? But in the end, we got 120 days to trial, his trial, and I think it's interesting. And to me, I'm looking at it. I'm choosing a part to speak on, meaning I think it's interesting that people don't like him or hate him, right? Or at least that's what you think you do. You think you hate him, right? Some people think they hate him. They don't even know him, right? I would assume. I think hate's a strong word. I mean, if you're gonna break down the wordplay and how hate is broken down, I mean, Shimmy could break all that shit down. You know what I'm saying? Um, hate and love. She'd be the one. Ask Shimmy about hate and love. All right, she'll break that shit down. JFK will just tell you that's a strong word, right? Um, So I'm just trying to keep it real here. That's all. But I think it's interesting, the concept that we speak of. We got people coming in the chat willing to say the most craziest things to lock them up. But when in fact, these people still think Karen Reed didn't do this crime. So if that is the case, right? Where does that make sense? I'm still trying to understand. And then everybody will say, but JFK, it's the law. It's the law, JFK. It's the law. He totally violated the law. I get that. But he never would have been in trouble violating a law if they potentially, allegedly, didn't violate a law, right? Am I wrong? What a concept. What a concept. It's a crazy concept. I get it. And I think that's what I've been talking about. And I get it. People look at it like, oh, JFK, you're stirring this shit up. You're being an asshole. Whatever. Not really stirring it. I'm still putting awareness on his case. And I'm not shitting on him. I'm still talking about his case. And I think, and a lot of people have the same, I think more people have this mindset and want to speak from that lens, at least on my audience. I think it's interesting. I think it's interesting. And I think that opens up the conversation for someone like Scott Peterson, right? Who has no evidence, right? If you just watch the Scott Peterson New Evidence documentary on A&E, if you really watch that documentary, now I get it, it's a documentary, but if you really watch that documentary and break that down, and then there's a van with a mattress and that was found burnt that they never let his lawyer know about during trial. 15 witnesses, because keep in mind when she first got on Christmas, I mean this happened on Christmas of 2002. She was a missing person. 15 witnesses came forward and said, I seen her at 10:30. I seen her at 11 a.m., 10:30, 11 a.m. And they all described what she was wearing and all described their dog. 15 witnesses, not one, not two, 15. 15 witnesses. And if that's the case, if they seen her at 10:30, 11 a.m., right? That means he didn't do it. Would you believe it? But you hate him so bad. You fucking hate him so bad because he had a girlfriend. People, not everybody. Because he had a girl and the way he acted and the way, she was pregnant. I get it. It's not good. It's not good. But does that make him a murderer? No. So that's the way I look at things. Even with Eddie O'Brien. Some people don't like Eddie, right? Well, some people love Eddie. He was only 15. He was only 15. There's no way he could do it. Listen, I was 15 years old doing wild shit. I don't want to hear that. You're very capable of doing anything at 15 years old. Okay. That's number one. All right. That's not to say that he did this crime, but 1000%, that doesn't eliminate him because of his age. So let's get that straight. Okay. You ever been to Chicago, the south side of Chicago? Did you ever try to get gas in the south side of Chicago? Your man JFK, I was on tour in the south side of Chicago. Oh, yeah, tour. ASAP Rocky. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Wiz Khalifa, circa 2013. We're in the south side of Chicago. We went to Milwaukee to Chicago, right? So when we're in the south side, the dude we was with in the car said, don't get out the car. I said, I'm getting out the car. They're called hoppers. There's a bunch of there's older dudes sitting at the entrance of the gas station. And then the young kids come up and ask you questions like, hey, man, you want some weed? Can I do your window? And they try to rob you. I got out the car, man, started pumping the gas. One of the little dudes was like, you need some weed? I'm like, nah, I'm good, man. I don't smoke. You know what I did? I walked right into the gas station, right between like 5 dudes. South side of Chicago. I walked right in. Probably wasn't the smartest thing to do, but I walked right in. You know what I got too? No bullshit. I bought a Muscle Milk, and it was a White Sox Muscle Milk. It had like the White Sox on it. And I got a Muscle Milk and a Cliff Bar. No bullshit. And walked back in the car and left. But I seen the temperature out there. They were trying to rob somebody. And whatever. They wasn't robbing shit from us. We had sweatpants on. We were fucking thugging it out. But I wanted to see what it was like. That's real shit. And they were like 15 years old, these kids, maybe younger. So I don't want to hear that just because you're young, you can't do crime. Oh, yeah. Yes, you can. for 1000%. But that doesn't mean Eddie's guilty. But the point is, it's the tale. It's the tale of whether you like somebody who fits for the crime. Eddie, based on he comes from and if you don't know what I'm talking about Edward O'Brien, 1997, July 23rd of 1995, the crime was committed. October 1st of 1997, he got found guilty of the murder of Janet Downing on July 23rd of 1995. She was found brutally red rummed 98 times. And you guys get the picture of what I'm talking about. Wounds on her body. And he was the kid for the job. He claims he didn't do it. 31 years later, he's still talking about his innocence. And there's a lot of reasonable doubt. There's a lot of things that make you say maybe he didn't do it for sure. For sure about that. Let's keep that clear. But the point is, he was an altar boy. He has a great family, and it just didn't make sense. And there was a third party culprit involved, and we all know that party culprit is a cat named Adi. Since Adi's been in the chat, and you know, but Adi's story is it's a little flawed for sure, but does that mean that he did it? No, it doesn't. So we don't know who did it, but people don't want him. A lot of people, this he has a little and don't get me wrong, there's a lot of people that do want him, that think he's a monster, that think he's masking and that he's really a monster inside. And there's a lot of people who think he's not. But in the end, there was DNA underneath her fingernails, Janet Downing's fingernails, that was not Eddie O'Brien's. So, by the interest of justice, would you not want to see that DNA ran? And would you not want him to have another fair trial? And if it takes a trial to figure out that DNA, a new trial, wouldn't you want to see it for the interest of justice, whether you think he did it or he didn't do it? Wouldn't you want to see? Right? That's where I'm at with it. The Commonwealth. Same thing when I talked to Natalie. No one got that concept. People thought that when I talked to Natalie Sharilla, that I was trying to side with what Mackenzie did. No, I was not. But there's a thing called the transfer hearing, a bound over hearing, right? In the state of Cleveland, right? Ohio, excuse me. And yeah, so uh and that was their main concern in the appeal. And guess what? They're fighting that right now. So everything I was talking about that was over everybody's head because the wound was too fresh because of the, and I didn't think it was fresh, ladies and gentlemen, because it happened 4 years ago. It actually happened. It actually happened before the John O'Keefe trial. Karen Reed. I'm thinking that this is old news, but obviously the Netflix series, which opens up another conversation, right? The Netflix series put gasoline on it and reboosted, lit the flame. It went crazy again. And nobody wanted to talk about that. And me, my interest was like, well, wait a minute. Did she get done dirty in the court of law? Whether she did it or didn't do it, did they give her a fair trial? Now, if she did do it, okay, cool. And she did, right? She got found guilty. Same with Eddie O'Brien. Eddie O'Brien got found guilty for the murder of Janet Downing. Mackenzie got found guilty for the murder of Davion, and Dom, right? She got found guilty. That's it. Point blank, period. They did it. In the court of law's eyes, they did it. Karen Reed got found not guilty for the death of John O'Keefe, but a lot of people saying she still did it. The world is crazy. So for the interest of justice, you got to say to yourself, okay, what's right and what's wrong here? So with the TB situation, if there is corruption, which obviously there is, I mean, there's no question there's corruption. We know that the same people that arrested TB are the same people that fucked this whole case up. Period. Point blank, end of the story. Does that take away from the crazy things TB says or the way he acts, the way he moves, the way you don't like his shirt, you don't like the way he kills flies? I don't know. I don't really give a fuck. That's not what I'm looking at. And that's a concept. That's a conflict. Does that make sense? God damn. Why does that make it corrupt? Well, why does it make it corrupt? Well, Right off the bat, it was corrupt. What? Well, corruption. Well, let me explain. Okay, are we going on wordplay here? Because it was from the jump, from the start, from the rip. It was a conflict of interest. From the jump, from the start, from the rip, they let that shit go. From the jump, from the start, from the rip. You're talking about Massachusetts State Police, right? You're talking about an ATF agent. You're talking about a Boston cop and the death of a Boston cop. They let that case go. That case should have never been going. Karen Reed's case is not corrupted. So if Karen Reed's case is corrupted and it should have never been a case, then why the fuck is Turtle Boy being arrested? That's why it's corruption. You want to separate the case. You want to separate it. Okay, I get it. They are separated. But if Karen Reed doesn't get charged with this bullshit and that shit gets dismissed, nothing ever happens to Turtle Boy. Do you get that concept, right? You see how that works? If Karen Reed's case gets dismissed and it doesn't even go through what it went through, 2 trials, it gets no process somewhere down the line, the shit that happened with TB would have never happened. And then we swim? Is that what we do? Is it nice outside? I know it's hot outside here. It is hot out here. You want to go swimming? You like swimming. Can you swim without floaties? That's the question, Matt. I want to know. Exactly. Hot as shit. Jimmy Speaks. Thank you so much, Jimmy. Clock it. Not today, Satan. Been a member for 9 months. Wow, not today, Satan. Thank you for being here. Rose McDonald coming through. I can't tell you how many times. Give it up for Rose McDonald. Peace signs up for Rose D. I would say Rose McDonald. My bad. Rose D. Sorry. Disclaimer. We got 2 roses. 2 great roses, by the way. Rose D. Give it up for Rose D, man. She's been here a long time. Man, I can't even tell you how many memberships. I've been doing this for over 2 years, and it seems like every other live stream she gives 5 JFK memberships. So add that up.
J.F.K. in the mix.
Come on!
Get out. People get out. Stop your feet. Let's get down.
Match the energy turbulence in the chat keeps the plane. We are all we got. The pivot is magical. One's up.
J.F.K. in the mix.
Means necessary, right? Cause you don't know me, I don't know you. So don't approach me, I won't approach you. And don't insult me, I won't insult you. Cause you don't know what I will or I won't, don't know. Cause you don't know me, and I don't know you. So don't approach me, I won't approach you. And don't insult me, I won't insult you. Cause you don't know what I will or I won't do.
Make no mistake, I'm the Golden State heavyweight. Being underrated gave me time to create. Can you relate? I renovate straight out the gate. Carry my weight, but seeing and receive nothing but hate. Millionaire snatching crumbs off my little son plate. Kidnapped, locked in the trunk, and shot in the face. No hoes, no clothes, no one showing up for my shows. You know how it goes, I might as well kick it at home. But my baby mama hate my guts and can't stand me. Packed up, moved out, started a new family. So all this struggling for what? So I can blow up, marry a slut, but can't watch my seed grow up? Fuck that, just the fucking thanks I get for trying to entertain assholes and feed my bitch. Yo, I feel like my whole life is upside down. Cause you see more support than I'm seeing my child. It's like
every day I wake up, another drama. It's a wonder I'm alive, surviving this karma. If I can hold on to my private life for 5 minutes longer, I might get my wife to let go of this knife of this karma. Without these cameras in our faces like animals, will you your channel 2 action news to follow our ambulance up the avenue and catch a glimpse of all the suicide attempts and what we do in private since they won't let us put up a fence. And you wonder why I carry every gun under the sun, whether it's unloaded full or an unregistered one. No bullets, you're so full of shit. This clip is so full it'll spit if I don't pull it. And don't give me no bullshit, I'm not in the mood. I just got in a feud in some parking lot with a dude over Kim, and she just slit both of her wrists over this shit. Don't tell me about the show business shit, I know what this is, bitch. Cause you don't know me, I don't know you, so don't approach me, I won't approach you. And don't insult me, I won't insult you. Cause you don't know what I will or I won't do. Cause you don't know me, and I don't know you, so don't approach me, I won't approach you. And don't insult me, I won't insult you. Cause you don't know what I will or I won't do.
You know what's crazy? So there was another letter that Higgins put out. So he sent another letter to the cops, and that letter was with pictures. And the pictures in that letter that he wrote to the police, basically a police report. He's a Fed. It's a fucking police report. No matter how you look at it, it's a cop writing something down. To me, it's a police report, right? That's the way I'm going to say it. Okay, I get it. Technically, it's not a police report. But when a Fed writes something down on a piece of paper, it's a federal agent writing a report. So what do you call that? Whoop, whoop. Thank you, Norman Corey. Around this part of town, Norman, we don't call it t-shirts, sir. It's called the jersey. Baby girl, what's your situation? I feel like I'm in a Fabulous video, Norman Corey. You ever see the Fabulous video? Baby girl, what's the situation? You know what video I'm talking about? Ladies know what video I'm talking about. It was like 2003 that shit came out. I only want to be with you. I want to be with you. Baby girl, what's the situation? The marathon jersey. That's right. Al Bundy over everything. You already know. Now, Al Bundy was mad at me. Al Bundy called up and said, you know what, JFK? You're sticking up for Turtle Boy. It seems like you're sticking up for him. And like you turned on us. He was pissed.
Baby girl,
come on.
You know my situation, and sometimes I know you get impatient, but you don't put on a show to get ovations. Take it to court and go through litigations, and I respect your gangster. Treat you like a princess and put some on your neck to thank you. She's my pinch hitter. When the starting lineup ain't playing right, I come off the bench with her. It might sound like I'm gassing ya, but it takes time to get from the backseat to the passenger. We've been creeping and sneaking just to keep it from leaking. We so deep in our freaking and we don't sleep on the weekend. Wifey's a little bit uptight. Wonder why I keep coming home in the middle of the night.
In the middle of the night.
If you bump heads, it'll be a fight. But I said it'll be alright. Come on.
It will be alright.
I'll be real with you. Can't leave you alone. And I know I'm living wrong, but I can't let you go. You're the one I want in my life. I already got a wife. Can't leave you alone. And I know I'm living wrong.
Yeah, I feel like Fabulous today. I might be doing too much. I might be doing way too much. I got the hat on, the jersey. It's probably one or the other, right? Like I might be doing way. Got the chain on. I'm hood booging out today, son. Holy shit! I'm 2003 all the way down. Holy shit! But that's okay. This is all entertainment. I got your attention. That's all that matters. Goddamn. I got the FBI. I got fucking the ATF attention. Would you believe it? We got everybody's attention. We got the feds, the cops, the stadies. Ah, shit. Wow. Would you believe it? I look like I should be down at Fort Myers and shit during opening season. It reminds you of Big Papa? Really? I love it when they call me Big Pop. Oh, Big Poppy. Oh, Big Poppy. Oh, for sure. Big Poppy. Big Poppy. For sure. For sure. I thought you meant B.I.G. We talking, oh yeah, Big Poppy. Solid dude. Thank you, Havel. Ortiz, for sure. They tried to kill him too, man, the Dominican Republic, man. They shot him and shit. That shit was crazy. Remember when they shot him? They tried to kill Big Poppy. Dato. Did they mess up their so I'm wearing the shirt on the wrong day. See, I didn't know about their trade today. What happened? Wow. Timing is everything. I guess I made it wasn't the right day. Goddamn. You have to be a hood booger to know what Dato means. Dato. Goddamn. Because that's slang, man. That's slang. So anyway, he wrote another letter, and in that letter, Higgins, police report, he sent a picture of him at John O'Keefe's funeral to prove to the Massachusetts State Police he went to John's funeral. This is a guy. If Higgins had nothing to do with this, be clear, we don't know what happened. Higgins, we don't know what happened. None of us knows what really happened. But this is a guy that went through all this trouble after the facts when John's gone, right? We're talking about 2 years after the fact, right? Follow me on this. He writes a letter about witness intimidation, knows exactly who we are, Facebook pages, microdots, JFK, James Jackson, all the bullshit. We all seen that, right? Garbage, right? Then he even writes a letter saying, hey, I went to the funeral, and he sent pictures of him at the funeral, right? But you know what you didn't do, Higgins? What you didn't do that makes no sense to me, Higgins? This is where it looks like you are full of shit, Higgins, right? But this is just a take, my man. This is not factual. This is just a take. But since that you have Masshole Monty and you have a bunch of people pulling for you guys over there, and I feel like the tide has changed. You guys got this Netflix movie brewing over there, this thing in Netflix, and we talked about Natalie earlier in Mackenzie, how it reignited the crash. It reignited that whole thing. Now, does this reignite when this Netflix series comes out of the McAlberts? Does this reignite everything, but in a negative light on Karen, that Karen actually did it? Because based on what we've seen with Gretchen Voss, that's a pure indication on what they got. And keep in mind, it's back to the sloppiness of tuberculosis, whether we hate them, whether we love them. It's the sloppiness of the extractions, and it's the sloppiness of the recorded phone call. Will that even be used? I don't know. I don't know if that's going to be used in this documentary. One can only assume let me fast forward, rewind, whatever. I'm all over the place. I'm swerving lane to lane. It doesn't matter. I am all over the place, right, James?
We're working too, yeah. I mean, my man had to run across 3 lanes.
Thank you, James. I appreciate your time, sir. I can only assume that that's going to be in there based on that Gretchen Voss article, right? Maybe not, though, because I don't know what you can get away with, what you can't get away with, but it's all public knowledge. I don't know. But if I was on that Netflix thing, I 1000% would put that in there and make a hit piece. Now, them extractions crazy. If you watch that mass, and I'm not trying to put Masshole Mafia over like what she's saying is factual. I'm not saying that, okay? So please don't twist my words. But what I'm saying is she's working too, whether you like it or not. And I feel like there's too many of them pushing and not enough of us pulling, right? That's what I feel, if that makes sense. So here I am. I'm going to give some pushback. And the pushback is this. You wrote a letter. We got the FOIA reports that you sent the picture in, and loophole lawyer got you spun out. We're gonna get into loophole lawyer because he breaks it down. Right? He's been doing a lot of work on this. Whether you love loophole lawyer, whether you hate loophole, he's been putting in work. Right? So the question is, you did all that after John's gone, but that night at the waterfall, you text her, "I'm well," right? And then you text, "You coming here?" You didn't text, "Are you coming here? Are you coming here? Are you thinking about coming here? What are you doing? Are you coming here?" No, you text, "You coming here?" Question mark, question mark, question mark. I don't know. Seems a little funny, but you text him that. And then the next day he was found on the lawn gone. And then at 11:54 a.m. that day, Karen Reed texts you, "John died." And you never talked to her. Allegedly, you never talked to her, right? We don't know. We still don't know, ladies and gentlemen. I hate to say this. I always said this. We don't know. Did they talk? Did they talk somewhere else? I don't know. That's tough to think too. Like they never talked after that. But so let's just assume based on what we know, not what we assume. He never talked to her again. And that's kind of weird that you cared so much about John and you care so much about showing now how much you cared about the situation. But when it actually was going on, you kind of detached yourself from it when you were right in the middle of it. Because technically, if that did happen and she did back up and hit John in front of 34 Fairview, is it fair to say that that fight and that anger and the reason why she didn't want him to come in that house is because you were in that fucking house, because you were in the mix? Is it fair to say you being in the mix, kind of like stirred all this up? You're worrying about a loophole lawyer. He got you spun out. Karen Reed had you totally spun out. Now a loophole lawyer got you spun out. A hood booger named J.F.K., another hood booger named James Jackson got you spun out. And then the microdots, man. You're all fucked up you're tripping now. I mean, we got you surrounded. Disclaimer. I'm just saying, you're spun all the way out, my dude. My question is, why are you doing this after the fact when you were right in the middle of it, in the thick of it, at the police station, there at the police station? Why wouldn't you go arrest Karen with these people? You like arresting people. You try to get me arrested, Higgins. You like arresting people. That's what you do. You wanted to see me taken away from my family. You piece of shit. Thank you, Higgins. I thought you appreciate the things that me and James do, right? I thought
Hey
you
man, what's
appreciate
up,
us.
guys? Kevin from South Boston.
What's up, Kevin from Southie? What's happening?
Listen, I appreciate the things that you two do. The things that you two do. The things that you two do. Listen, I appreciate the things that you two do. You and James, right?
No, you don't. You 1000% don't appreciate what me and James do. Because 3 months later, 4 months later, you try to get us arrested. When you called in our phone line, you called me. And then you got the nerve. That's what makes you such a liar. You told the Stadies that we're calling you Kevin from South Boston, like out of the blue. Like, oh, we're just calling you that because we're mental cases. No, we're calling you that because you called us and you said your name was Kevin from South Boston. I mean, am I in the Twilight Zone, sir? This is wild, man. So my question is, you were in the thick of it when it happened. You were at the police station. That morning you was at the house, right? You never called Karen. You would have never called Karen and say what happened. I mean, you were the closest one to the situation. You played 2 weeks before that. You were playing video games with John's kids. Now you know John's gone, and you don't even call Karen to see what the fuck happened, or you don't like. I don't understand. But now 2 years later, you want to show receipts that you were at his funeral and that you were getting piled on by law tubers, if that's what you want to call us. I don't know, hood boogers. Some people call us hood boogers. I mean, loophole lawyer calls us real men. Would you believe it? Calls us real men. Thank you, loophole. I appreciate that. Finally, something nice being said about us. I appreciate that. Loophole lawyer is probably the only one. God damn. Would you believe it? Holy shit. You were in the thick of it right then and there. Why didn't you go arrest Karen with the boys? Where were you February 3rd at the arraignment? Why weren't you right there? Why wouldn't you call her and ask what happened? Why not? You were that close to the situation. But after the fact, it seems like you're trying to get ahead of something. Allegedly, I'm not in your shoes. I don't know what it's like. If you were being accused of something like this, I get it, man. If you didn't do this, you had nothing to do with it. Like, I get it. You got to fight back. But why'd you call in the show and say your name was Kevin from South Boston? You should have just called in and said who you were. And there's plenty of platforms you could go on, my dude, and speak. Why don't you go on Loophole Lawyer? I'm sure he would love to have a conversation with you. Or you call me up anytime. I'm sure you could find the digits. Sure. You could find the digits for sure. Ladies and gentlemen, we got someone coming to the stage.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. This one's explosive.
What up, what up? Let's go.
5.
Everything comes from the soup. Everything.
I can't hear you.
I'm not speaking. Can you hear me
Okay.
now?
Yeah, I can hear you, bro. What up?
Hey, we got Loophole Lawyer in the chat. What up, Loophole Lawyer? Fancy Vince. Hey, man, I appreciate all the love, man, that you've been showing, man, and the kind words, man. Appreciate you, man. Definitely gotta get a show in, man. I'd love to have you up, man, or vice versa. Let me know. And my email is at jfkshowoff@gmail if you want to connect. Appreciate you, man. What up, Jimmy from LYNN? What's happening, man?
Man, what's good? What's good, buddy?
What's happening? You said you want to correct the record on some things?
Prison Jimmy.
Prison Jimmy.
I like
That's
that.
funny.
I like that.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool, man. I like that nickname. Ex-prison Jimmy, though. 10 years old. 10 years past.
Prison Jimmy
Too
is
bad,
in the
huh?
house. Yeah. Yeah, so I've been having this convo.
And go ahead. I'm sorry.
JFK show off at Gmail. JFK show off at Gmail. Loophole. So we've been having this conversation about the conflict, the concept about, the interests of justice. Like, we're not talking through the lens of trying to lock this guy up, Aiden. We're talking about what the Commonwealth, their moves, what they're gonna make. And I think you wanted to correct the record a little bit, right?
Yeah, man. No, that's the thing. Like, listen, man. So I totally get how this dude would be on the offensive at every single thing somebody says about when you about his case and the possibility that he could get convicted and go to jail. I get that, man. Because like I've been there. I've been in a situation where dudes are like, oh, you're gonna get a 5 to 6, or you're gonna get a 10 to 12, or you're gonna get a 3 to 4. You don't want to hear that, man. You just don't want to hear it. So I understand that. I understand that. You can't be mad at him for that. It's just this. It's the smart aleck shit. And it's just like, no, I don't think I'm an analyst at all. Far from an analyst, but I've been there, man. And not proud of it. Not proud of it at all. That's why my life's changed, and I work 70 hours a week now. You know what I mean? So like, I'm not proud of it, but there's a couple things. Like, I mean, he can pick it apart, and he's got a quick tongue, so he can come back with anything. The dude's got a quick tongue. So, but my thing is that I'm not an analyst, far from it. Just been there, seen it, right? And come on, man, we're talking about. He's saying we're idiots because it's a nonviolent crime. And how could he possibly get get to. First of all, he's not getting convicted. What are you holding these fucking fundraisers left and right and all this crazy shit? If you're so convinced, what do you got 2 lawyers for? If you're concerned, if you're so confident you're not going to be convicted. He's not. You can never be confident that a jury's not going to find you guilty. Norfolk County jury, Suffolk County jury. No one can ever be confident that a jury's not going to find you guilty. That's 100%. So he can try to talk himself into it by telling everybody else that. I've been there before too. But it's like he's got to understand. It's a non-violent crime, yes, right? But the judge considers the totality of the circumstances. If God forbid there was a conviction, right? I've already stood my ground on. I don't want him to be convicted because I really don't. And if I did, I'd say I did. I have before. I've just changed my mind. And like you can say it's a non-violent crime, but taken in context, it's like he's proud of the fact that basically he started the Karen Reed movement, which the Commonwealth hates, right? They hate him for that. He can take credit for basically, I'll give him credit. I'll give him all the credit in the world for dismantling. They used to call them the CPAC unit. They're not the CPAC unit anymore. They're like the Norfolk County or whatever county's district attorneys, violent crimes task force or investigators that work for the VA's office, right? He dismantled that with his groups and his crowds and his finding evidence and giving evidence to the Karen Reed team. Like, 'cause he did a lot. The dude did a lot. He's responsible for basically a lot of the shit that the lawyers use to get her acquitted. So, like, and when you intimidate a witness in a murder trial, this isn't just a non-violent crime. It's the context of it all. Like, she was the most wanted woman on Massachusetts soil by the Commonwealth, right? So you think that if he was convicted, God forbid, if he even beats 9 of them, I don't know how many he has. He's right. I don't know. Listen, I'm just glad I'm not in his shoes, even if it was 1, right? But he's like, he's not stupid. He's got to know. He can tell anybody whatever he wants, but I mean, him and I know he's nervous as fuck, and I would be too. And like, just the whole totality of everything that surrounds any possible conviction. If the hammer comes down on 3 counts or 10 counts or whatever, the possibility is there because it's a murder case. And not only a murder case, but the most high-profile murder case in Massachusetts and probably almost the country since fucking OJ, right? True. I mean, so I just wanted to lay those facts down. Like, no, I'm not an analyst, and yeah, it's a non-violent crime, but you got to consider the circumstances, man. You got to consider the circumstances. You better prepare, and the whole revoking bail. It does not have to be you do not have to be a danger to the community on a bail warning. The general laws on bail warning, there's nothing in there about being a danger to the community. That was because he had a domestic. It was domestic related. The charges were domestic related. When the clerk read off the charges and the judge said, clerk, is there any domestic allegations in this charge? I'm sure they said yes. Then it becomes a violent issue. When you're out on bail in Massachusetts, there's nothing in that statute that says that the Commonwealth's got to prove that you're a danger to society. All they got to prove is that you got indicted or arrested or summoned or anything. So
even a summons, huh?
Yeah, even a fucking summons. That's a complaint. That's a charge. So, like, and it doesn't have to be, I was watching.
But then again, no. And let me just give you some pushback. I'm just going to mute you real quick. I'm going to give you some pushback that basically, but his lawyers have the right to defend that and speak up. And they'll say that he's been to every one of his court dates. He shows up to all his court dates. He's not a flight risk. Now I get it. If he got rearrested, right? Well, indicted, what happened? They definitely could revoke it, right? The judge could say, "Hey, I ain't fucking around. I don't like this. Like you're taking this as a joke." He definitely, how judges are. Judges don't like when you're looking at shit as a joke. They don't. They hate that shit, right? You're making a mockery out of this situation. They don't like it. But if a judge is on, depends on how you catch the judge. If you catch the judge on a good day, he's not a flight risk. They might add other stipulations to it. You know what I mean? Things like that. So, am I on point there? Am I correct?
Yeah, I'm muted. Yeah,
No, you're not
absolutely,
muted. I am
man.
muted.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
His lawyers can absolutely say that, and the judge doesn't lock him up. It says you may be held, and then he's playing word games with, we don't know what we're talking about, 60 days in Superior Court, 90 days here, 180 days, whatever, man. I ain't been in that situation in 10 years. So yeah, I forgot. I forgot, and I'm glad I forgot about it.
Yeah,
But
we
if
was
you'd
a little,
asked me 10 years ago, I'd have told you.
Yeah. But no matter
You
what, he
know?
could be held. He could be held within 60 days.
He can be
For
held.
60
Yeah,
days.
he can be held in jail until trial, 60 days, whatever. You can go to jail that night, buddy.
So here's the bottom line. Let's, as
One
we're
day.
correcting the record, right? As we're correcting the record, we're not trying to stir it up because we want to see this happen. This is just a factual thing. Like Cosgrove, we see what he's doing. Let's put context. We see what he's doing with Karen Reed's phone. We see the way he treats Turtle Boy. Like, and now he has this in his back pocket. The question is, does he use it? And if he uses it, how does he use it? Now, we found out that his next hearing ain't till November. So, with that being said, now that the indictment, someone had just put the indictment as an arraignment date, how does he go about that? Since the next court date ain't all the way till November, what do you think Cosgrove's move is if he decides to move on this?
So you have to do it on the following court date. Like, if you're going to do it at the court date, you have to do it by way of motion or on the next court date. So if he doesn't do it on the next court date, then he can't do it anyways anymore. You
So
know
he
what I
can't
mean?
do it before. So he can't do it before the court date. He can't bring
Yeah,
him
he
in
can put
before
a
the court.
motion. He can. Yeah, he can. He can. I'm surprised that he hasn't, because he's out to get 80. So no, and listen, man, I hate that fucking Cosgrove. I've been in front of Cosgrove.
Yeah.
I bet. Yeah, look him up. He's been in Essex County, dude. He was in Essex County. I've been in front of that dude. I've been in front of, many years ago, half the judges in Superior Court. Again, I'm not proud of it, but I have. So, like, I don't like Cosgrove. Like, I can say I hate Cosgrove. I hate Cosgrove, and I don't hate fucking Aiden. Aiden didn't do anything particular to me. You know what I mean? Like, I don't hate that dude. I don't have any reason to see him want to go to jail. I just, like I'll stand by what I said. He's got a big mouth, and sometimes you just want to jump to the screen at him. But sometimes, sometimes it's called for. Like I said when I came on, and and I'll say another thing. Like, that the tough guy shit on the screen and talking all that shit, like saying that prison Jimmy shit, whatever. That don't get me mad, but just shit like that. Like, you never know. You don't know who you're doing this to, man. And I actually went to one of Karen Reed's hearings one time, right? It was raining. It's a rainy day like it is today. I know you're probably in Georgia, but it's like a rainy day in Massachusetts today, and it's like dreary and shitty. And I went to a Karen Reed court date by myself. I took the morning off of work and I went there. I wanted to see what it was like, And I went there, and he was standing with like Dina, and it was like, must have been his first time at Meredith because he was fresh out of jail. And I walked up to him, and he'll remember this if he sees this. I walked up to him and I held out my hand and I gave him daps, and I was like, "You're a beast, man," because he was like, back then it was like we were all getting, you guys are all getting along, and everybody supported each other. And I did. I thought he was a beast. I still think he's a beast. He is. He's an animal with the shit he does. But my point is, like, before as I walked up to him, you should have seen his fucking face, dude. Like, as I got, because he didn't know why I was there. You know what I mean? He didn't have no idea why I was there. And when I held my hand out to give him daps, he was like, it looked like fucking. You know what I mean? And I don't blame him. You know,
Nah, you
I
can't.
don't
You
blame
can't
him.
blame that.
I don't look like a pushover. You know, I don't look like a pushover, and I can't blame that. But that's just the point. Like, you never know. You never know, man. You just never know. And like, it's just that keyboard and that this monitor shit, man. It can get you in trouble sometimes, man. You know, it can, and that's what pisses me off. Like, just the loose tongue. Other than the loose tongue, I have no problem with him, man. And I don't want to see the dude go to jail. I just think he's wrong in a lot of different ways. I once supported him, and I think he's wrong in a lot of different ways, like how he treated you and the whole thing with the recording. I think is whack. Like, you know, like just a bunch of shit like that. Like, I have my own reasons why I just stopped really caring for him, and but
Yeah, but
it
that the
doesn't
point
change
is
my
you can.
respect for him. I have respect for him
Right.
as the person that he is and what he does. I really do. You know.
Yeah.
Go ahead. I'm
I mean,
sorry.
you could talk. No, you could talk about the case, man, and have a conflict, and look at some of his poor behavior for sure. And I think that's what people got to understand. And I think that's interesting. I think it makes the conversation more interesting because it's like you can find what if you find out something about somebody who they pin a crime on, right? And he had a past, he I don't know, he has a past, and you find out his past and you don't like his past, but the crime that is being publicized, he didn't do. Are you gonna hold his past against him because you don't like him, or he said something on camera? Hey, fuck this one, fuck that one. Like, you can't do that. It's got to be like, because you just got to call it down the middle, man, for what it is. Like, in the end, if they would have never went at Karen Reed and pushed this case, this would have never happened to him. Period. You muted up, bro.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
He would not. He definitely wouldn't have he wouldn't be in the situation he's in now if he didn't get on top of the Karen Reed case. But maybe Karen wouldn't be in the situation she's in now either. I can't say he single-handedly got her acquitted, but he sure did provide, like, come on, Lucky, and like different, like, like a lot of shit, man. The Ford Focus, like he dug up a lot of shit, man.
But let me just say this. My bad. Let me just say this. So Matt says a good point. How can someone respect a dude who talks about women the way he does, and he'll wiretap you? No respect. And I understand that. And we call him out on his poor behaviors, and that's something that he did. Now that's something that he did a year ago. And if he continues to act like that, right, then hopefully somewhere down the line he can realize that's not the way to go. But you know what? If that's the way he wants to act, cool. But I will never, ever, ever bow down to them poor behaviors, so to speak. I'm always going to say he's morally corrupt in that way, and I don't respect that for sure, Matt. I don't respect that. But when we're talking about this, the Commonwealth versus him, because he disrespects women, because he wiretaps people, because his behavior is poor, does that mean he should go to jail? And I think that's the conflict. Appreciate you, Matt.
He shouldn't go to jail for any of that because he's not charged with it. Number one, it is his right to say that. I hate to say it. It is his right to be disrespectful to people, and as long as the lines aren't crossed and there's no crimes committed with your words, I've got myself in trouble like that over my lifetime. My mouth, it's simple. It's simple to just say the wrong shit and bam, you got a summons, or bam, they're at your door, locking you up. And Matt, just to touch on that, I don't respect him for any of that. I respect him for the shit he did with the Karen Reed case.
Well, how about this?
Particular.
Here's some pushback. He didn't dig anything up. Everything was handed to him. Brownie.
Yeah. I can't agree with that, man. I can't. Okay. He's got sources. If he didn't have the sources he had, then he wouldn't have been able to get it handed to him.
Okay.
So
the guy wrote a statement. The guy, Rooster Burns, said the guy wrote a statement against his ex. Where I come from, nobody will mess with you when you write statements. Always a rat, and I got to agree with that.
True, but we know he's a rat. I mean, he's a civilian. Before anything, I hate to use that way. He's the cooperator. I won't. I don't want to. I'm not here to shit on him, so I won't call him. Maybe I'll take the rat word back, but I'm not. He's a cooperator. He's a civilian, and you expect that out of civilians. Now, if somebody like me wrote a statement, you could call me a rat. That's fair game.
That's
You know
fair
what I
game.
mean? But he's a civilian, man. The dude's a civilian that started this huge movement, dismantled the district attorney's office, took hand in helping the Karen Reed defense team, right? Because if there was no Turtle Boy, there was no microdots. If there was no microdots, there was none of those videos or any video, or even this one house video that Boozy Beauty said they let in, right? Um, he's responsible for a lot of things, man. He is. So it is what it is. But he's got a hot tongue, man. He's got a really disrespectful mouth. And that's what I
But
don't like
does that
about him.
and
On the
that's the
screen, if you want to come to my face and say shit, I respect you for that, you know? So
yeah, and that's the conflict. And everybody has a right to think this way. And that right there, TB, if you're watching, right? If you're watching, I understand. Number wise, I got 252 people in the chat. That's a good amount of people, right? To me, it is. And I'm comfortable with that, right? I'm comfortable with 50 people, to be honest with you, man. Anybody that's gonna subscribe to me and watch me and listen to me and support me, I appreciate that. All my long gamers for sure. But I'll tell you this. You have like 5,000 people watching you. And I would say at least half of them are with you, right? I would say analytically, half of them are with you, right? Maybe more than half, right? But the point I'm trying to make is that maybe from hearing this, you will understand there's a conflict. You know what I mean? Like people are really saying, I don't care if he goes to jail at this point because he's such a piece of shit. And that's crazy. And half these people think Karen didn't do this crime, but they still don't care if you go to jail. And that's kind of like going against everything that this movement was built on, right? So that's just an inventory check. That's something to think about. But ladies and gentlemen, coming to the stage, right? This guy, I'll tell you right now, Higgins. Yeah, you Higgins.
You wrong. You wrong.
Who?
Hey man, what's up, guys? Kevin from South Boston.
He got you spun all the way out. He's not letting you off the hook. He's not going to stop until the real.
Hey man, what's up, guys? Kevin from South Boston.
Hey
is
man,
brought
what's
to
up, guys?
justice.
Kevin from South Boston.
Ladies and gentlemen, loophole lawyer coming to.
Everything comes from the stoop. Everything.
Damn, let's go. Yes, my man. What's up, brother? Thanks for coming on, bro.
Look at this. Thank you for having me. I'm learning a lot about having to be a real man from you and these strong men that you bring on. Like, I've never been to jail without meeting a client. I don't know how to smoke. I don't know how to drink Henny. I've never done a drug in my life, actually.
That's awesome. That's awesome, my brother. But you're doing a great job on this case, man. I love your content, man. You're very creative, man. And I love the way you sprinkle the AI in, man. It's definitely entertaining. And you could tell you take your time with it. So I can appreciate that.
Yeah, we do. I mean, I have an editor that I've been working with for a long time, and we keep things tight. Our theme is to never waste a frame. As cheesy as that sounds, meaning when you watch us, there shouldn't be a wasted frame. We take out all the like, for the most part. We take out all the breaks, and that's something that you probably don't recognize, but that's what we do. Now, I caught on to this case sort of towards the tail end, and I didn't realize that you honed in on Brian Patrick Higgins. And I think because you understand more relationships, meaning like guys, girls, dating, and things like that, because this case was pretty easy if you step back and look at what actually occurred. But the problem is, and this is what I said to Turtle Boy, and I say to him a lot, he wasn't told about the relationship between Brian Patrick Higgins and Karen until the fucking trial, until actually he was testifying about it. That's huge when you're trying to solve a case.
Yeah, that's and I always said that. My main thing with Karen was, what was the temperature like between the waterfall to 34 Fairview? What was John acting like in the car with the conversation? You got to understand that Jen McCabe, he texts Jen McCabe, John O'Keefe, texts her, what's the address? He's a cop. Like, he knows that. Like, all you got to do is tell him the address. He's going to find it. That's what he does, right? And then she called him. He texted her, and then she called him, and they talked for like 30-something seconds. Then they hung up, and then he called her back. And Higgins, in his February 3rd report that came out later, says that he was overhearing that conversation. And then he texts, to your point, I like what you said in your latest video, you coming here. It wasn't like, hey, man, you coming here? Are you coming through? Like, it was you coming here, kind of like forceful. So that's always stuck out to me.
What I found interesting was the relationship that Higgins had with John that we weren't aware of, meaning we only saw a few texts from that Patriots game. I had no idea these guys were hanging out, chasing skirt for at least 4 months together. So it wasn't something where he just met John and that was it. See, like, I always thought that Higgins had zero game and that Karen was eventually trying to ghost him. I didn't appreciate the fact that he was a little bit upset about violating majorly the bro code. But I know that I've done it once in my life. I was probably in 10th grade and I hooked up with a girl that I was really into that liked my friend. I've only done it once and I never would do it again. I would never hook up with even any of my friends' ex-wives now. It's just something you just don't do. I never thought Higgins appreciated that fact. And I didn't realize that him and John were friends, and more than just friends. Like, they were hanging out, they were calling each other gay. Like, that's amongst straight guys, that's a code, right? When you get to a relationship point with a guy where you say, hey, there's a couple of guys over here, you like him, inferring that he's gay, that shows you that there's a strong bond between the guys, right? Because that's how guys talk. And I heard that you're calling me a racist, a misogynist, anti-Semite.
I did?
Yeah.
No,
and I'm telling you, only part of that is true. It's not all true. I know that it comes.
I didn't say that. I didn't say that. I would never say that. I didn't.
Well, I
say
said
that.
only part of it is true, so it's okay.
No, someone in the chat said it, and I said, "What?" Like, as soon as I mentioned I was putting you over, I was like, "Loophole Lawyer is doing a good job." I mean, I even named it "Loophole Lawyer got Higgins spun," and I was gonna go into your latest video, but now I got you here, so it's even better. But then people started dropping that, and I was like, "I don't know about that." And then someone said that you're half black, so.
I'm not half black, but yeah, I do have some African in me. But the thing is, and then my dad ended up remarrying a Jamaican woman. If you want to talk about racist, you got to know Jamaicans, because Jamaicans are so racist against blacks that are here, you would not believe. But I don't believe in any of that stuff. Sometimes some of this is a character, and I'm okay with calling me a racist or whatever. I am racist on some things. I only want an Asian doctor. I don't want a white doctor. I do admit to that stuff. And so I admit to it, and it's okay, right? I mean, you guys are tough guys. I'm sure you have friends that talk like that behind people's backs.
Yeah, but I know I come from the hip hop culture, and my business is hip hop. So I really don't. If one of my friends start going off the rails, like somebody from the neighborhood that's stuck in generational curses, I'll always stop them and say, I don't appreciate that. So don't talk like that.
Yeah, it was a weird thing, and I know what you're talking about. I actually asked Samantha about this on our last show that we did, Samantha Beningo. And I had asked her when she first heard, and I know people flip out about the word, so when did you hear that word said to you, but in a real way, not in a casual way? Meaning, where I come from, we say the word every day. I've never heard any person use the phrase, quote unquote, N-word, unless they were white people in public, right? So I don't use that word in a derogatory way, but I know people that do, so it's odd when I see white people hear that word in private and how you react to it. I wanted to get a real response from her. I know a lot of people flip out about it, but I've never heard anyone but white people use the phrase N-word in my life.
I can dig it. It's just not a healthy word. It's not positive. It doesn't nourish you. It's poisoning. It's just what it comes from, and it's just what I mean. It's 2026. I mean, there's better things to say. We all can control our dialogue.
I say it I'd say it maybe 300 times a day, but not in a derogatory way. I mean,
why
this
do
is
you
the
say
way
that?
I come from.
But would you say that? Would you say that in a space of a bunch of people who wouldn't want you to say it?
The only people that ever were offended were white people. I mean, that's just from my exposure, right? So I don't know a culture where you don't say the word, right?
I
Especially
can assure you, right, that there is a space of people that don't have the same color skin of us. If you're dropping M bombs, they're not going to appreciate that shit, my man. So you might want to
Yeah.
calm down with that.
Yeah, no, I mean that's for you to do, right? If you're not exposed to a certain genre of people, then yeah, you may get offended by that word. I mean, what my point was that I was saying it when people say it in a derogatory way, and you've heard it in a derogatory way in your life, and that's where they wanted to explore with Samantha, because I've heard it in a derogatory way, and people don't necessarily know my background. So it's neither here nor there. It doesn't make a difference to this particular case, because I can't find the black person in Canton, believe it or not, throughout this entire case. That was always the joke. There was the one brother who did the toxicology. Now, I never knew that you can backdate toxicology reports before this case. Did you know that?
No, I didn't know that. And let me before you ask me that question, let me answer that with a question. So you're an actual lawyer?
100%.
100%. And where'd you get your law degree and all that? If you don't mind me asking.
No problem. I went to Syracuse University for law school. I went to Columbia University. That's in New York State, here in New York City. And I have a law firm. I've tried almost probably like 100 plus cases. And generally in the corporate field is where I practice. And a lot of my cases were behind closed doors. They're arbitration with 3 arbitration panels, not a full jury. So I spent almost my entire life doing it. Now, how I got into all this was I also worked as a comedic writer for the Howard Stern Show, and that's back in 2016, 2017, 2018. So I've been on YouTube for a long time, just not necessarily in this genre, so to speak.
So what brought you into Karen Reed case? What was like the thing that like struck you the most to say this girl's not guilty?
I saw the words HOS, and I was just curious as to what the fuck they were talking about. How long to die? No, so for real, that's how I remember it vividly. I had no idea about Karen Reed, and then just got into the case from that, and just breaking off from that word to actually doing some research on it. I mean, I've been wrong about a lot of the stuff that was in this case, but I'm confident when I say that Brian Patrick Higgins murdered John O'Keefe. Whether he did it intentionally, whether it was in self-defense, I'm not certain about that, but he was certainly involved in the death.
So
those are strong words.
So you think Higgins really? And how do you think it happened? Do you have a thought of how it happened? You want to break it down?
Yeah. So far that I've come is that at 12:20 and 48 seconds, he's texting John, "You coming here?" with 3 question marks. It's important because he hadn't texted John since he made out with Karen. So 2 weeks went by. He doesn't care where John is at any point on any day, except for this particular time. He fucked up when he wrote that text, and he knows it.
Right.
The cool thing about what Samantha does is she analyzes the words, and I never realized how important it is, the words. I was always looking for body language, scratching, things like that. But the words are so much more powerful with regard to whether you're telling the truth. When Higgins read that in court twice, he added an R, "Are you coming here?" followed by 3 question marks. And then he actually spoke it. I think I shot him a text, "Are you coming here?" It's so critical because there's a difference between "you coming here" followed by 3 question marks after you caught him on that video taunting John, and there was something going down there. And man, I have to thank you because you went there, and I watched this video maybe a year ago where you're seeing how close it is at the waterfall. And that's critical too. The real question, and I'll get back to how I think it happened, is did Karen know at 12:20 and when they're driving there that John's going there agitated, looking for a fight? That's the real question. I can't answer yes or no, one way or another, but there's a reason she lied to all of us. When you admit it's still a lie.
Not to cut you off, but why do you think she's not telling us what? Because I believe there was some animosity too, so that had to have been in the vehicle. So why would she hold something like so important like that back? Why? What would her reason be? She's fighting for her life.
They say you lied to protect yourself, so obviously she's protecting herself, whether it's innocent, meaning she just was embarrassed about it, or she knew going there that John's looking for a fight. And that's where J.F.K., your co-host with the polo shirt, he's asking, he's like, who is John? Is John a tough guy? Or is he like me and probably never will go anywhere near 34 Fairview if I know Brian Higgins is there, right? So I'd be like, well, we ain't going there. But I feel like John may be the exact opposite. They know who John is. He's old enough now where you get a pattern on who John is. Is he going there looking for a fight? You saw the way John reacted to Higgins. I've done that too. When you're being a wise ass and you do the little dance, and
the heel toe.
Yep, and the adrenaline's running through. This is not someone who just left the bar with no animosity. Karen doesn't see any of this, by the way. You can watch that video. She doesn't see it. She's having the affair, so she's not likely to disclose any of this to John going there.
Let me just give a little pushback. But the thing is, right, when you break it down, though, Brian is there with Nicole. Chris is there with Julie. The Greek couple's there. Karina with her husband. Maddie M on the backup is with Jen, right? And Karen Caitlin's there with Tristan. Karen is there with John, and then there's just Higgins. So like everybody's coupled up, and here's this guy just sitting there, and she knows what she's been talking to him about. She's got to feel something. She's got to feel awkward.
Yeah. So to be technical, some of those couples were gone by the time Karen got there. Meaning like the Kolakitis were there. And
they were there. The only people that weren't there was Julie. And I think
Julie
maybe
wasn't there, and Chris was
Tristan.
by himself, and Tristan was gone, right. But the cool thing is, that video is so telling. How her attorneys missed Karen working her way all the way around and eventually getting to Brian Patrick Higgins and not ignoring him, but literally touching him in a flirtatious manner. And you're a guy, and you know this. Maybe you've been in the situation where literally the girl that you're cheating with, her significant other is in the room. You know the rules of an affair. You keep your mouth shut at all costs. You go to your death if you play by the rules of an affair. Higgins only needed that little touch. That's all he needed. He never felt ignored. And I was 100% wrong about this. I would make fun of him that he didn't get the message. Samantha picked this out where you literally see her push him in a plate.
She touched him.
In a plate. That's all you need as a guy. You know how important it is as a guy to feel
That's
just a little.
validation.
That's all it is, man. And girls don't realize how guys are just dumb. We need the physical touch. And she did that, and she looked at him in a flirtatious manner. And literally 4 minutes later, Chris Albert is grabbing that arm. Now, I'm not 100% sure what was going on, but why didn't
this
her...
question. Why is a pizza man grabbing an ATF agent?
He had to hear something, because you don't physically see Higgins trying to get at John to hold him back. And Chris Albert's probably not going to be able to hold him back. But why wasn't any of these guys questioned about this at the trial number one? And I'll tell you the real reason why is because Karen didn't tell everybody this. So they went in questioning Chris Albert about a fucking cartoon, dude. They're questioning about Nebercracker, right? Like, that is so fucking lame. You have Chris Albert grabbing the arm that you caught. Like, I don't know if anyone caught that before you.
Now check this out. Let me pull a video up real quick. I want to show you something.
Or anything like that?
I did leave, yes.
You didn't say goodbye to John, correct?
I don't think I said goodbye.
Over and give John a big hug or anything like that?
I did leave, yes.
You didn't say goodbye to John, correct?
I don't think I said goodbye to anybody.
Like, what do you mean you didn't say goodbye
You
to no one?
texted
What's
John
this?
O'Keefe, you coming here.
I did.
And that had 3 question marks behind it, correct?
Yes.
Did you text Karen about coming over to 34 Fairview?
No.
So at 12:20 a.m., after you left the waterfall and made your way over to 34 Fairview, you were more interested in getting John to come to 34 Fairview than you were to getting Karen to come to 34.
Now, keep in mind, we did the reenactment video. And that reenactment video, right? I got to mute you up, Jimmy. Yeah, I'm hearing all that feedback. I'm sure you're hearing it in your headphones, too. Keep in mind, you've seen how small it is inside that bar. He's right in front of him. No, see, people before said, hey, maybe he was talking to the guy in the back. Maybe he was talking to someone else. Hell no, he was talking to him. And I want to show you something else, right? This is something that you might have missed or you seen, but I want to put you onto game. So look, he's so close to him at this moment right now. Green arrow to green arrow, right? John turned around after paying his bill. He's putting the wallet in the back, and he says something. This is right before the heel toe. But I want you to look at who's acting crazy before this happens. Check it out. Look at this. Look now, as this is going, right? They're talking, right? Look when you zoom in. He's touching his brow. He's looking on, what's up, man? What's up, right? John's about to turn around. Look who started acting crazy. Watch this. Look at Jen McCabe. Look at Jen. Look at Jen McCabe, how scared she's acting.
That's a great point. You see it right there because Jen doesn't know. She turns around. Who the fuck is Brian talking? That's a great find that you saw there.
Yeah,
that's really good. Yeah,
And
because the
she's-
girls,
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. It's wild to think. Go ahead, brother.
the girls were in a different mode. Jen's like trying to get everyone to come back. There was no conspiracy of her trying to get John separated from Karen. That's pretty foolish to like think about now looking back. But Jen whipping her head like that is very critical to this case because it shows that there is something being said. Now, had the attorneys knew all this going in, the questioning would be completely different. So don't ever think that these attorneys are so smart. I always say, even I passed the bar exam in New York first try. You know, like any dope can be an attorney. If you have enough time, you can do it. But you picked up on something that should have been so critical in the first trial. Because when Higgins answers, "Oh, I think I just left," you have visual evidence, which juries love now, of the exact opposite. And there was no questioning on it. I mean, in reality, it's most likely legal malpractice what happened there, based upon what you showed us, right? Because Higgins is telling you, I left that bar, no issue, and I think I said goodbye. No, dude, you were taunting the one guy that ended up dead just 30 minutes later. That's critical to this case.
Yeah. And you know, we talk about when you said Karen she was embarrassed and she didn't want to say anything. I got to give you some pushback on that. So what we're about to do right now, and I'm because me and you were on the same wavelength, right, with this whole shit, right? And but Karen did actually try to tell the story. Now I don't know if she was going to tell the whole story, but when the FOIA came out after, now keep in mind I got a lot of pushback on this because prior to getting this FOIA report of her in the garage talking to Buchanan and Proctor was there when she was getting booked, when she was getting upcharged on the indictment. She tried to talk to him. They were rebooking her, and they said, "Do you want to talk to the attorneys? Do you want to talk to us?" And she said, "Yeah, I do want to talk. I want to tell you what happened." And they're like, "No, we don't want to talk." Now, keep in mind, they snuck her into court. I could show you how they snuck her in, which is insane. I'm about to break it all down for you. But take a listen to this right here. This is Karen in the garage when she was in booking upcharge June of 2022.
Just let you know I'm on the line with MIS right now.
Yeah, I got nothing here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is it for everybody or just?
I don't know. He doesn't know if it's statewide. Yeah. It's not even opening up here.
No, it is, but it's not. I'm getting nothing.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm getting to.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Let me know if you hear anything.
Yeah, I will. I have them all out there on hold.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, man. While we wait, Miranda warnings again, just like he read to you before. Right? Same exact thing. Okay. Before we ask you any questions, you must understand your rights. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in court. You have the right to talk to a lawyer for advice before we ask you any questions, and to have him or her with you during questioning. If you cannot afford a lawyer, one will be appointed for you. If you decide to answer questions now, you still have the right to stop questioning at any time. Do you understand what I've read to you? Having these rights in mind, do you wish to talk to me now?
Can I have my lawyer with me like you said?
Can I have my lawyer with me like you said?
We're not going to be questioning you. So
Buchanan jumps right in. We're not going to be questioning you. Now, I get it by law. If the lawyer's saying that she doesn't want to be questioned, this and that, that's her right. But she's saying, I want to talk. And this is the death of a Boston police officer. She's saying, I want to talk with my lawyer present. And listen, she gives him pushback and she wants to tell him what happened. The question is she going to mention Higgins at this point in June? We don't know.
You can have your lawyer tomorrow in court. But as I said, we're not going to be questioning you. And honoring your lawyer's wishes from before, we do not wish to talk to you. So
You just said you'd gladly hear my story.
You just said you gladly hear my story, Loophole.
You just said that like.
But your lawyer wouldn't want you to tell.
Yes, he would.
Yes, he would.
Okay, so there'll be a time and place for that. Okay, we cannot question you because you are being represented, and he was very clear that we're not to question you.
So you'd hear the story outside his presence, but not in his presence.
No, we're not. I don't want to hear the story because
I thought you said you did.
No, we're not going to question you. If you feel like you want to talk, you can talk all you want. We're just not going to question you, okay? And we recommend you, abide by his wishes as well. Most likely, probably the best.
Now, keep this in mind, right? I want to pull one more thing up. Now, keep in mind, they snuck her into the courthouse, my man. They snuck her into the courthouse. When I tell you that they snuck her in on the hush to indict her, I'm going to show you. There is footage. Before there was Turtle Boy, there was a blogger before him. You know that, right? There was a dude who was following this case. Watch this footage. I'm going to blow your mind with this footage right here. Look at this. Watch this. This is her going into court right after you just heard her saying these things. She spent the night in jail. This is her in court, going inside the courthouse. Not a camera in sight. She's about to be indicted for the murder of John O'Keefe. This is her walking in the court. This is the state trooper. This is the state trooper car pulling up, right? This is how they walk her in. Look at this. Look at how she walks in. There's nobody even there.
That's the weird thing with traction in anything in terms of media. Sometimes things hit and a lot of times they don't. And yeah, no one's there. But if you listen to her further in that conversation, she does mention names. And I don't believe she mentions Higgins. She mentions Colin and Brian Albert.
No, that was before.
That was a different indictment? That was the first indictment?
No. That's the same video. I mean, the same audio, but that's when she was getting booked. She was like, this is a joke, right? And then they told her to calm down, and then they continued to book in, and then he started saying to her, you could talk to us, this and that, blah, 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 if you want. And then she went through with the booking, and then when the booking officer read her the rights, she says, okay, I want to talk. And I want to tell my story. And then Buchanan said, nah, we're not going to do that. And she goes, what do you mean? You just told me. And that's when she mentioned Colin and Brian Albert. She's like, you just told me you wanted to hear it. She goes like, he was like, yeah, but your lawyer wouldn't like that. She's like, yeah, he would. So she did want to talk to them, but they already knew the story, right? They already knew what happened.
Which is an odd thing, because if Proctor solved this case in 17 hours, literally everything they do after is a waste of time in their opinion. And they did a lot after. They just didn't do anything with regard to changing what actually occurred. I mean, they interviewed almost everybody after Proctor knew that it was Karen that hit John with her SUV. But the point is, she doesn't mention Higgins at all until that day when the text message read, apparently, because Aiden said to us that he didn't even know. And you see what she's feeding Aiden. It has nothing to do with Higgins. There's only one suspect, if you really know what's going on at the beginning. It's the guy with a motive. Little Colin Albert had no fucking motive. If you know you're a 17-year-old guy, the last thing you're doing is fucking with your parents' friend who's a 6-foot-something cop in the middle of a blizzard when you're trying to get the hell out of a party. He has no animosity towards John at all. They're trying to claim that he was throwing cans on his lawn a year earlier, and somehow that animosity would lead over, and a year later, little Colin Albert would attack John O'Keefe. You remember when you were 17 years old. I don't care how tough or strong you are. You're not looking to fight a fucking grown-ass man in the middle of a start of a blizzard in 1 second.
A cop
it just doesn't happen.
A cop
Yeah, like, does that make a difference? Like, I don't know, because like I didn't grow up around that many cops. Like, in your mind, like, is that something that you wouldn't fight a cop, or is that, why are you saying that?
Yeah, I mean, you would think that he might have some skills. You know what I mean? He's a cop. You know, he's not a pushover. Cops learn how to fight. That he's a Boston cop at that. You know what I mean? You're a Canton kid. You're seeing him in his Boston uniform. And when you go into Boston from Canton, which is not too far from there, Boston there's some rugged places to it. So you don't know his background. So you would be on alert for sure.
Gotcha. Plus he's Irish and they're not known for fighting at all. So I'm sure Colin was aware of that.
Yeah, right. They're not known for that. Them Irish boys are firecrackers, and that's the point about Paul O'Keefe. Now, that's the question, Paul. Like, your brother. If all this is happening in front of him, how is he feeling about this?
I looked for evidence with regard to Karen knowing his personality and his temperament, and she does say that when he gets drunk, he would be willing to fight. She said that on the Rotten Tomatoes episode, but people have to know who Paul O'Keefe is, right? So if he finds out, or he's suspecting that his best friend, and this is a total betrayal by Karen. I mean, by Karen, it's crazy, right? Because the last thing you ever want is your girl to hook up with your good friend. That's fucked up. Like, you can almost get why guys would do it, but when a girl does that, that's an ultimate betrayal. And I can't imagine John being okay with it on any level.
I mean, not only did Higgins hooked up with her, it was in his house.
You said that 2 days ago or yesterday, and then I started to realize that's right. Karen's not begging just to fuck him. She's saying, come over and fuck me at John's house. And she didn't say it just once. Higgins is retarded. He just doesn't know what's going on, right? He's just like trying to make it a real relationship. But when a girl says, come over, that's like the end game of all sexting, right? Game on. You don't ask any other question just in case she changes her mind. At least that would happen in my case, right? So you get your ass over there. But you're right. Where is he going to go? To John's house. Can you imagine if he actually did?
And here's the thing. There's a question that I always wanted to ask Higgins on the stand, right? When they had him on the stand. I think they should have brought him back, right? The defense should have brought him back on cross. And one question, how long you been a police officer, Higgins, in law enforcement? For this many years, whatever. Is it true in your line of work, if a guy, back to what we're talking about, the bro code, breaks the bro code, can it end up in an assault and battery? Yes. Could it end up in a murder? Can people die over this shit? Like, you know what I mean? Answer that question. Like, and that's a fact. Like, this is what happens. It happens all the time. One of your friends is messing with your girl, you find out, or vice versa, and some form of violence happens. You know?
That's another amazing point, because really murder happens for two reasons, sex or money. And this would be the sex category. You're right. Like, is he going to be honest? Probably not. But everyone around there knows, and everyone's been in the same situation where you get really the most angry when you find your spouse or someone dating cheating. I mean, just that's human nature. Nature needs you to get angry because of that. It's just biologically how we are as human apes. So yes, that's critical, right? And we all know that. But the problem is we didn't know that the biggest motive for murder was there, because Karen didn't tell us. She omitted. She didn't tell all of us what was going on between those two. I don't know if it was just because she was embarrassed, though.
Well, I think that she was embarrassed because, I said, you brought it up in your video, if this is just a take, right? I got my takes. That January 1st, the Aruba things happen. He's there. Now, keep in mind, his friend Pat, right, who died, he committed suicide, right? He was his best friend. Now, keep in mind, the guy, Pat, was a Boston police officer. And guess what? He was in a TV show with Brian Albert called Boston's Finest. Right. And that was his best friend. So that's where it gets weird. So the girl comes there. Right. And John says, oh, that's my buddy's girl. And that's her little sister. And she's like a little sister to me. Here comes Karen doing mommy duties with the kids. Right. Walks into the pool and John's tonguing down his little sister. Allegedly. Right. So now there could be, at that point, based on Karen being a firecracker, maybe that's where that word got thrown around a couple of weeks prior. So now here she is driving from the waterfall to 34 Fairview, knowing that he's about to go hook up with the boys, and the boys are about to spill the fucking beans and let him know, like, listen, bro, your girl ain't your girl. So as she's saying that, he gets out the car, she leaves him, she beats feet, and then she calls him, you fucking pervert, because basically the only reason why the things Higgins is about to tell you, the only reason why I even talked to him is because of the way you acted. I checked my market value and I got back at you. That kind of makes sense. I mean, it's a wild take, but it just is what it is.
It's not that wild. I mean, Chris Rock once had this routine where once you cheat on a girl and she forgives you, you just gave her a free pass to hook up with whomever she wants, and she's going to use it. And girls definitely do that. And I think about, let's say, my current wife. No matter what I do, she will always record it in her mind to utilize against me whenever I anger her. So even if I did hook up with a girl in the lobby in Aruba and she would consider that perverted, she may fight me there, but she'll use that, 4 months down the road, 5 months down the road, the next time she's angry at me. Nobody heard the voicemails, as you said, from Karen Reed and said, oh, this girl is doing it to set up murder. You always hear the cases where the voicemail is left intentionally. Oh, honey, I'm going to be back. I love you. Bye. Click. Not right. You fucking unless Karen is the ultimate criminal mind, right? And I don't think she is to do all that. There's no way that obviously she was doing that to set John up. She was pissed, like any girl would be. I mean, the last thing in her mind is that John's dead. She thinks John is hooking up with Bella's mom or anybody.
Right. And that's another thing. It's like everybody talks about Karen went behind John's back, which she did for sure. But keep in mind, Higgins, the professional, to Kev's point, the professional creeper, he pulled up on her on One Metals Ave when she was outside and, started talking to her. And, and he even says it in his testimony. I drove by, I beeped, she didn't recognize the car. I spun around and put the window down and said, hey, look, it's me. I just got a haircut, And you could just imagine, what are you doing out here weed whacking? And like, you're too beautiful for that, and all that bullshit that comes with it. And that right there, you broke the bro code right there. You should have just never did that. And he says in his testimony in the text messages, I had a thing from you from jump. He had his eyes on her. So that's what he does.
Even
right?
Whenever Samantha, we even yesterday, she references jump, and I always ask when was jump, and I'm only doing it as a joke because you're supposed to say when I first met you at the waterfall. And as a guy, we fall in love with what we see. There's no doubt about it. It doesn't make you misogynistic. That's how human nature is. Men fall in love with what we see. Women fall in love with what they hear. That's why women are better at detecting the lies, because we're always bullshitting them as to what we do for work, and we're not married and we don't have kids, like all the bullshit. They have a vested interest in sussing out. I hate that stupid word, but they do, right? Because when you have sex with a female, they have an interest, right? You can go and leave. They would have to raise a kid. So it's biological that they are more discerning as to who they sleep with. This is just human nature, as we are as human apes. But it goes down to this case. I love your little strongman friend. He goes, oh, do you know how to put the string in there? Do you know that line? Do you know how to put the string? Because guys, like, they always joke around with a girl with a weed whacker, and that stupid string used to be so annoying. I don't know if you had to do any work as a kid, but my dad used to make me use that fucking weed whacker. And you don't know how to get the string in. So that was a nice line by your friend there. But it's true. Have you ever hooked up with any of your friends' girls at any point in your life, from like 12th grade or 10th grade or whenever till now?
Nah, I never did that. It was just violation of the penal code 54321.
Yeah, I told you I did it that one time, and they just met, but he liked her and she liked, but like, I know I felt bad after. I haven't done it as an adult, and I wouldn't do it as an adult. So if John finds out, this is a betrayal.
Big betrayal.
That from Karen, mainly Karen, and obviously Higgins, but he's closer to Karen, I believe, than Higgins, but they all were close. And that's the problem sometimes when you see a girl like Karen and you're Higgins, you do fall in love with a girl like that at that age, right? Because she's thrown into this married life with kids, and those aren't her kids. And those aren't even John's kids. Mm-hmm. It's a weird situation for a girl in her status to be in.
Well, I think that what happened was, you got to understand, he kept asking him to come through, right? To come by and, check out a game here and there, and Higgins kept declining. And this is all testimony. And then Karen got in the mix and said, come through. And then he came through, and then she broke out the Hennessy, right? So like you said, if he figured all this out and he's like, wow, this was happening. And he did mention it. He said, hey, you were acting kind of flirtatious with him when he was over here. He kind of mentioned it. His eyes was on that. So the question is, how much did he know? Did he know? But here's something that you talked about. You talked about wordplay in text messages, right? And we talk about how Karen never mentioned Higgins, right? And everybody talks about, and this was one of my wild takes. Now keep in mind, Loophole Lawyer, I've been on this journey now for over 2 years, and I questioned Karen too, right? I questioned everything. And since we're asking questions, one of my takes was, they never said Karen called 911, right? Like, she never called the police, right? Okay, I get that. Now, the reason why I get that, here's a wild take for you. Keep in mind, at 11:54 a.m., she texted Higgins, John died. Not John's dead. Oh my God, help me, John's dead. John died, as if either two things. One, she's continuing the conversation, or two, she's sussing the situation out at 11:54 a.m. Now, keep in mind, she would have never called 911 that night if she already talked to a cop, right? If she was already talking to Higgins.
Well, the 911,
so my point is, no, what I'm saying is, people, what I'm saying, if she was talking to a cop on another line, on a different form of communication, and she was talking to Higgins, there would be no need to call the cops if she was talking to one.
Yes, true. But what does the 911 call, which would be around 6 in the morning, have to do with the 11 a.m. text?
Well, what I'm saying is, if John didn't come home and she doesn't know what happened to John, instead of at 4:55 a.m. calling Jen McKay, did she, on another line of communication, call Higgins up and say, hey, where's John at? And he's like, oh, I'll check it out for you. Let me call my buddies at the station. So then she wouldn't have to call 911, right? She wouldn't have to call the cops because she's talking to the main line. Because then the next morning, 11:54 a.m., John died as if like they were talking, man. Like, what do you feel about?
Saying.
What do you feel about that John died text? John
That's
died.
huge. It's huge, right? So I never really thought about what Karen's intent was when she sent it. Obviously, Brian Patrick Higgins knows. The only issue is he got that lifeline at 7 a.m. or 7:30 when they somehow figure that they can pin this on Karen, not Lucky or anybody else, because they hear that she said, I may have hit him or could have hit him, and there was the broken taillight. So now Higgins has to cut all ties with Karen in his mind, and he's got a little lifeline. But what was Karen's intent, not knowing all that, of telling Brian Patrick? Because I believe she's either in that medical hold being held at that time, or it's either right before or right after. But what did she want to elicit from Brian? Was it, are we continuing a conversation from 6 in the morning? Are we continuing the conversation that we were having about potentially getting together before all this shit happened? Or am I just telling you naturally?
Or John never came home, right? John never came home, and now she doesn't know what. Now John never comes home. She's thinking John and Higgins talked.
Well,
she's thinking she's in the shit. She's thinking she's in the shit house. She's thinking Higgins is showing her the phone conversations. So now what does she do? She calls Higgins up on another line and says, hey, where's John? Never came home. And he's like, hey, I don't even know. I left. I don't know what happened. And now she's frantic. Oh my God. And then maybe when she said he got hit by a plow, is she talking about his plow? She talking about him?
It's a good point. I don't think Karen ever thought Brian Patrick would betray the affair code, because they've done it for the past 2 weeks without any issue. John's been at the same bar. In fact, there was another time which they talk about where they're flirting heavily, and she actually had to delete the text. We never got to see them as to whatever the hell they were saying between each other. And obviously they met without any issue. They made out at John's house. Karen was doing this without a care in the world in terms of getting in trouble with John. So I don't think that she was talking to Higgins. But do you know who Emily C is from all this stuff?
Yeah, I know who Emily
Yeah, so
is.
when I first met Emily, she didn't want me to say that, but I think I've said it before, that they were questioning why the fuck Karen was not screaming, go to that fucking house. I was just there, a few hours earlier. Check out everyone in the house. Like the next day, once she sobers up, the house, Higgins. So that goes to your point. Wouldn't the first person be Brian Patrick that you call if you're Karen, as opposed to anyone else, including Jen, because you even have Jen's number?
Right. Well, that's my
Why
point.
didn't she call Higgins at 5? If you're saying that they did,
but if she was talking, Higgins is a Fed. He's an ATF agent. He could have said, "Don't call me on this line. Here, hit me on this line." And then she fucked up that morning, and by mistake, she hit him on the other line. And like a continuation of John died, it could have been on another signal or anything like that. And she just messed up during. Because I don't know about you, there's sometimes I'll text my boy on Messenger, and I was talking to him on the iPhone, like I bounce back, right? Things like that. Like they'll send me something in Facebook. Hey, check out this reel. And hey, this is cool. And I jumped to the wrong app. I don't know. It's just a question.
No, it's a good point though. And the real issue is, why isn't she focusing on Higgins straight away? If you don't know where John is, and you know that John was at the house that Brian Patrick was at, and that's the only person you really know, then why aren't you calling him or texting him? It's an odd thing that's going on. Now, I don't believe that Karen knew. For some reason, I just don't. And maybe I'm being naive about this, going there, that John knew that there was going to be a conflict. But there very well could have been.
Well, keep in mind, right? I don't think she did know. So now to push some pushback on the point that I was making is because that when she called Jen up she said, I don't remember anything. I just remember dropping him off at the waterfall. That was the first initial thing. And see, Jen lied on the stand. She fucked up because she actually admitted she seen John get out the car. And then and said that Karen said to drive to 34 Fairview and all these different things. So, but this is what happened. She told her niece or whatever, John's niece, to call Jen and said, I don't remember anything. And this is where Jen lied. Jen says, let me hang up with you and let me call Chris and see if he walked home with Chris. But that's a goddamn lie because you were just watching him a couple hours before in the truck right in the front, and you were texting him, pulling back at me, and you was the last one talking to him. So why did you call Julie to see if he walked home with Chris? That was at 4:55. Julie claims that phone call was missed, right? And so then she says, okay, Matt sprung up out of bed and said, what are you talking about, baby? This is her testify. She never walked home with Chris. We seen them right? Them at the house. Now she spins Karen out. So I think that phone call to Julie, if you ask me, someone had to find that body from 11:45 to 7:45 a.m. is the night shift in the Canton Police Department. They got a window of opportunity here. They got to frame it up, right? So now someone's got to roll up with the body. I think that donut story probably is going to be true. She was going to roll up and bring the donuts, Julie, because the night before she left the bar with a headache. So maybe that morning, hey, I left the bar. I didn't get to say happy birthday to Brian, so I swang through to bring some donuts. Oh, my God, there's John on the lawn. But when Karen calls at 4:55 a.m., right before that, and says, I don't remember anything, Jen says, hey, let me call you back and see if he walked home with Chris. Then she tells Julie, you're sitting in the Walmart parking lot with the windshield wipers on, waiting for the call. Stand down. I'm going to call Karen back and spin her all the way to fuck out.
Yeah, like that's where I am not at all, and that's where I lose a lot of followers and people because I don't believe that any of them had any idea that this was going down. And
so let's talk
crazy.
about that. Let's talk about that.
Yeah, so if you want to talk about my theory is that none of them knew except for Brian Patrick Higgins and or maybe Brian Albert. So if you're committing a murder, and to get back to where we were, at 12:25, John actually reads the text from Brian Patrick. I don't have any evidence that he's in the house. I really do believe that it took place on the right side of the house, in back of all the cars that are blocking everyone's view, and these guys were talking. There's movement on John's phone at 12:32. There's only 36 steps. I don't know if those are real steps or just dragging John's body, whatever it may be. But the kill time has got to be anywhere in between 12:26 and 12:32. And if it happened just real quickly, one punch on the side of the house, then they have to move the body. I would never tell anybody, and it makes sense that no one else saw it either. Now, did you see Jen's actual heart rate detector from her Apple Watch?
Yes, I did.
See, that's tough if you're on the side that you believe that Jen McCabe absolutely knew, because that thing is so great in terms of blood pressure. And if you were on the side that Jen knew and she Googled it at 227, you would want to see major spikes in blood pressure from that point. And you just don't see it in her Apple Watch. So not to say that it's conclusive either way, but that's a big piece of evidence. Not many of us have a lie detector strapped to our wrists when we're committing a murder or potentially committing a murder. And you do see it spike exactly when she gets to John's body. I mean, it goes from like a heart rate of like 90 beats to like 120, which you would think that you would see. Have you ever performed CPR on anyone in your life?
No, I never did. No.
Yeah, it's a fucked up situation. I did it one time. This girl, a friend, she had a heart disease to begin with, but in the Hamptons, we all rented a house, and that's what we do on Long Island. And then we woke up, and she was literally passed out on the floor. It's something you'll never forget, and if you go through it, it's really, really heart-wrenching. Even if it's someone that you really care for, it's very, very traumatic. So there's no way you can keep your heart rate steady at any point during that time frame. And she doesn't, Jen.
So you think the how long to die in the cold was at 6:30 a.m. You don't think it was at that time?
Yeah, that's the thing with this type of evidence, especially with computer evidence. It was easily proven that you can do it, and that system that they had to detect it would show up at 6:20 whenever you first open that tab. that's very easy to prove. It doesn't conclusively prove that it wasn't done, but it's so much more likely that she texted that and she Google searched that during the time frame that she was doing all the other searches with relation to that.
What about that morning though when she called Nicole and Nicole didn't pick up, but they say it did pick up, and then she deleted them texts? Wouldn't that make her be in on it at that point if she deleted the text and then it picked up and she's saying she didn't pick up? And then how about the answering machine that you hear on John's line of her saying come out here or whatever she said, or they're on their way or whatever it was?
Yeah, that's true. I mean, those are all things that occurred. You can't delete any of that legitimately. You can delete it from your phone, and maybe that's indicative of guilt, but it doesn't mean that it didn't occur. And just because you delete it from your phone doesn't mean we can't get it from the source, which we did. So those occurred, and the reason is I don't know exactly why.
And what about all the time she called back to back John's phone, right? And she said they were all butt dials.
That's fucking bullshit. She's lying about that. She's lying about those calls being butt dials. There's no butt dials with this type of phone. It just doesn't happen anymore. I mean, you can mistakenly press it, but yeah, the question is why.
I'm not trying to change your mind, right? I'm not trying to change your mind. I'm just trying to provoke your thoughts, my brother. Look at Jen McCabe right here, though. Now keep in mind she's looking right at Higgins at this point. She's looking at them doing that, and look at her. Look at that. Oh,
yep.
Fuck.
I had never seen that before. That's a great find.
Look at that. So you sure Jen didn't know? I don't know. By the way, this is all entertainment. Me and Loophole Lawyer, this is fake. We don't know nothing. We read a book. This is a Lifetime movie. I mean, Higgins, please don't write no more fucking reports, please. Goddamn.
That was scary for you because I didn't know this case when he's going to the state police. The fact that he's actually going to the state police believing that they were going to do something, the scary part is they actually did arrest Aiden. So they had some success getting their critics silenced a little bit. And I don't know your history between you and Aiden and whatever, but for me and
Aiden, yeah. we're best friends.
Okay, then cool. Then, and you know what? I'll say Josie Lou. I watched Josie Lou. I go to the gym, believe it or not. And for some reason, she's always on like the random times, like 4 PM or 5. And it's just me and Josie Lou and like 5 other people. And she goes through all the different evidence. And I love her attitude about it. So she just gave you $100. You can send my take, to Venmo when we're done.
Yeah, I got you. Josie Lou she's got some wild takes for sure. She's got some wild takes. But let me ask you about Julie, right? So when I talk about that 455, right? Now, I think Julie, so if they were involved, right? And like I said, this is pure speculation. No one's been charged with murder. We get it, right? I got to throw these disclaimers up, man, because they're pushing and pulling over there, right? So 4:55 a.m., she missed the phone call of her best friend, Jen McKay. That's her best friend, Loophole Lawyer. She missed the phone call. So what does she do? She says she jumps in her car at 8:30 on a Saturday when a blizzard is coming. A blizzard is rolling out 8:30 in the morning. She jumps in, grabs 6 donuts, man. 6 fucking donuts. The question is, Loophole Lawyer, what type of donuts do you like, sir? She grabs the donuts and some coffees, I think, too. And she drives over to 34 Fairview. And this is what she testified to. She's seen the missed call from Jen. She doesn't text Jen. She doesn't see what's going on. And as she rolls up to the scene, right, the crime scene's already done, because if there was any crime tape or there was cops outside, she would have been like, what was going on, right? So now the police already left the death of a Boston police officer by 8:30 in the morning, which is insane, right? They're gone. They left for the day. That whole night shift went home. Right? Because like I said, 11:45 to 7:45 a.m. She pulls up and she notices Jen's car on a Saturday in the driveway, who she just missed the phone call at 4:55 a.m. She doesn't think nothing of it. What's she doing here at 8:30 before a blizzard on a Saturday? And she says, no big deal. I got to make the drop. I have to make the drop. Right? So now keep in mind, the door's open now on top of that of this car that she drops the donuts in. And as she's walking down the driveway, Loophole Lawyer, a door opens and he goes, ooh, and it's big bad Brian A. and says, I need to talk to you, Julie. She walks in the house. She notices Maddie M's there, Jen's there, Nicole's there, and of course your boy, Brian Patrick Higgins, is there. And she goes, what's going on? What the fuck I'm just dropping off the donuts, the ritual. And they said something happened to John. And she goes, John who? That's what she testified to. Now, the question is, the crime scene's gone. Everybody's gone. They're having the powwow. That's mad suspect, 6 donuts. What are we talking about here? But the thing is, if everybody's gone and you got a Boston police officer there and an ATF agent there, just two questions I got. You're telling me they wouldn't have went outside and did their own investigation and look around and see what happened, right? And if they would have, right, they would have found 47 pieces of taillight, a fucking hat, right? And they didn't find that, right? And on top of that, at that point, nobody knew what happened, right? Everybody's still friends at that point. So the question is, why didn't they just call Karen?
It's a good question. If you're literally Higgins and you spent this whole night with Brian Albert figuring out how to get to the body, the last thing you want to do is go anywhere near it. But you're so right. It's so natural for you to go through your entire front yard. Someone died and it's purely coincidental. You don't know how it happened. And in fact, it was someone that you were with. You'd be going up and down that entire front lawn. You'll never find another piece of taillight after that morning because you're going there every single day. Brian Albert and even Chief Berkowitz, who, I mean, he had to be in on this. They thought that it would be better to find the taillight in pieces throughout the next few days, which is so odd because you're living at the crime scene, to your point. You should have found every piece of evidence. It's your damn front lawn. You take a rake, whatever it takes to get through all the stuff.
And they're cops. And they're cops. This is what
I always
they
forget
do.
about that. That's the thing. I forget that they're used to seeing even a dead body, like handling John.
There's no way they wouldn't have went outside and said, "Man, let's see how this happened." Like, where did he was found right here? This is where he was found. Like, oh shit, a sneaker. Look, there's 47 pieces of taillight, Brian. Good job, Brian.
That's a great point because I don't know where you grew up, but in Long Island, there was always like one person. Whenever there was a fire,
I grew up in Compton.
Okay, so in the suburbs, there's always one person that follows the if there's a fire, they always follow it around. They all listen on the scanners, but they go through the whole scene. Now, if it's on your front lawn, there's not much in your life, right? You have your front lawn, you're looking out your front lawn all the time, you're walking to and from your car. You don't think to look on your front lawn as a cop, to your point, even if you weren't a cop, but as a cop. How does that happen? But I think psychologically, Brian Albert had to distance himself from this. I mean, he did, right? He ran from that house. That was a generational house that he sold and left. That's telling. It's huge, right? They sold it to that Asian couple now that lives there. Have you ever been to the house?
Yeah. Been to the house.
I don't know.
Yeah, you want?
Have you been in the house?
No, I haven't been in the house. No, I haven't been in the house. But yeah, 1,000%, I've been in the house for sure. And I've been up and down the driveway, and it's very small there, my brother. Very small there.
Yeah, that's what Samantha said.
Look at this. I'll pull this up right now. I'll show you something. This is what you would have seen the night at 34 Fairview from inside the cab of a truck, right? So we had in a snowstorm, we had someone go out and lay in 34 Fairview, lay down, right? So this is what you would see, and especially if you're Higgins and you go out to,
who'd you get to do that?
I can't answer them questions right now, sir. This is what it would look like. What do you see in front of you?
Yeah,
that's a picture. That's a picture.
Yeah.
That's just a picture. Like, look to the right. What do you see in front of you?
Yeah, I see it.
Right? So I could play the video now. But that's just the picture in front of 34 Fairview. I'll play the video so you can see the video. So here's the video, sir. Now, this is what Higgins would have seen right there. If Higgins was in this truck, that's what he would have seen right in front of him. That's how close it is.
And remember, there's very little snow on the ground at that time. If he's leaving at 12:35, 12:40.
What do you see in front of you? Do you see something?
Well, I see a mailbox. I mean, I can't really see from this angle. This isn't like the best.
Yeah, but look. Now, as you're driving down, though, look. Watch. Now you're driving down. Look. You see?
I love that. Yeah, no, there's no doubt. If there wasn't even all the physical evidence, meaning John's body didn't have anything that showed that he was in a car accident, everyone would have heard and saw this. They're all looking out the window at this particular time, right? There's no way you're going to miss a car backing up that fast, hitting somebody, and then the guy laying there and nobody sees it. It's asinine to think about.
Well, not only that, well, you grew up in Long Island, so you know about the snow. Thank you for our river accent. Here's the thing. If you know a blizzard's coming through, right, and you know a blizzard's coming through, the next day you're about to get smashed, right? I don't know about you, loophole lawyer, but you look out the window to see what's accumulating out there. You peek out once in a while. People get ahead of it. Like you're drinking hot cocoa, you're listening to the oldies. Like you're in this game. You know you're about to get blasted, right? I mean, just the simple shit. Look out your window. Oh, and by the way, if you would have looked out the window, you might have noticed a man was on your lawn. I'm just saying, right? And keep in mind, everything got to go right for them. Oh, by the way, there's a German Shepherd at their legs, and all this is going on, and the German Shepherd never barks. Oh, and by the way, Jen runs up to the house, right? Jen runs up to the house, and the door is open, and that German Shepherd never comes down and bites her and attacks her. No, the German Shepherd, no problem. That didn't do anything. And then when you say that Jen wasn't involved, right? If you listen to the 911 call, keep in mind, right? She had 2 chances to say Officer John O'Keefe. Instead, she does this.
What's going on? There's a guy unresponsive in the snow.
There's a guy unresponsive in the snow. Hold on a minute. Let me put you through the Canton.
34 Fairview Road in Canton, Mass. There's a man passed out in the snow.
Oh, now there's a man passed out in the snow. You got 2 chances. So you know you come from a cop family, and you know if you say on the lawn a cop is down and there's a cop in the house, you know the Boston police would have got dispatched. They would have been flying up 93. The helicopters would have landed. Jay Brill would have even fucking shown up. And everybody would have been there. But instead, you try to keep it on the low, the guy and the man.
Yeah, that's the thing. Was she doing it because she knew, or was she doing it to protect Brian Albert because it's his house? And I'm stupid. I wouldn't even realize that saying it's a cop would escalate things, but obviously, from what I come to learn, that would have. So it is suspect that she didn't mention that it was a cop.
Well, how about this?
I know. Where are the blankets? I don't see blankets, Kerry.
Where's the blankets, Kerry? I don't see blankets. Where's the baby blankets, Kerry? I don't see blankets. That's what a baby blanket's going to do. There's a whole house in front of you. Kerry Roberts don't even know that's her sister's, and they don't even know each other. She got no idea whose house is in that house. She's looking for blankets. What do you mean? All you got to do is go in the house, loophole lawyer. There's blankets, big blankets, furry blankets, all types of blankets, heated blankets. She don't go in the house. She's looking for blankets, a baby blanket that's going to do this to John. That's what it's going to do to John. Right? Come on, man.
Yeah, that is true. No, it's true, because if it was her child, would she have acted the same way? I would say probably not, right? I think she would be more animated. Although, like, calling 911 is probably the biggest help that you can do, even with CPR. The first thing they teach you is call 911. She did it, right? She didn't, like, fake call. She didn't not call. So she did call 911. That doesn't prove one way or another that she knew before this actually occurred that John was dead.
All right, so let's hear her real quick, right, on the stand, okay, Jen McKay.
Any conversation do you have with her then?
She proceeds to scream my name multiple times, that John didn't come home. She left him at the waterfall. Just woken up. I was, what are you talking about? And then she, told me that they had gotten into a fight and she left him there. I remembered that Chris Albert had still been at the bar. Maybe John walked home with Chris, because Chris...
That's a lie.
Lives close to the waterfall. I told her that I was going to call Julie and see if John had ended up with Chris.
Why would you think that when you were the last one talking to him and texting him, and you seen him in front of the house? What's going on here? Wait, but pay attention. Listen, I got you though.
I called Julie Albert. She did not.
She didn't answer, but it came back that it did answer. Go ahead.
With your husband Matt around that time?
Yes. He
Matt sprung out of bed, loophole lawyer. He sprung up. What did you
kind
say,
of shot
Maddie?
up out of bed.
That's a
when,
sexy thought I have in my
Karen
head.
Listen.
called. Then he was, what's going on? And I said, well, I'm calling Julie because what are you talking about? We saw them outside of your sister's house. And then I'm not sure if I called.
I'm not sure if I called. 1,000% you called Karen back. The biggest mistake Karen made that night was when you called back, she took the fucking phone call. That's when the framework started. But go ahead.
Back.
And then I'm not sure if I called Kaylee back
Or if Kaylee
you
called
called her
me back. Yes, I get
called her
Karen.
back.
I get in touch with Karen again, and I say, Karen, we saw you outside of my sister's.
And what was her response?
She told me that she didn't remember going.
She told you she don't remember going there. That's what she told you, right? Okay, keep going, Jen. Jen, you lied on the stand, but keep going.
there.
I don't know. He got out the car.
Was that you?
Yes, that was.
Is that the 911 call?
Yes, it was.
And what did you just say?
I said, I don't know. He got out of the car.
And this was at 6:03 in the morning, correct?
Correct.
And that 911 call, you said he got out of the car, didn't you?
I did, because Karen Reed had told me that she had left him there.
Oh, really? She did?
Well, here's the thing. Be fair to the situation. Karen did not know, allegedly, that she went to 34 Fairview. It was Jen that said that, Karen, you did come to 34 Fairview. I saw you out front. And that was documented in the police reports early on. I had said that you have to be fair to Jen. If Jen really wanted to fuck with Karen, she didn't have to disclose that Karen had no idea. She claims she didn't go to 34 Fairview. Now, is Karen so drunk that she doesn't remember going to 34 Fairview? Or was she omitting that fact intentionally?
Yeah, but she's saying, Karen is saying to Jen at that time, in that moment, I remember dropping him off at the waterfall. She said on the 911 call, he got out the car, right?
Right.
And then when they caught her up saying, you said he got out the car, because you're the last one who had eyeballs on him. You claim he never went in the house, but you're saying out of your mouth a slip up, because there's got to be a slip up somewhere that he got out the car. And when he says, is that your voice? You said he got out the car. You said, yeah, I said that because Karen Reed said she dropped him off there. That's not what you said just prior, the day before. You said you called up and she said, I don't remember anything. And that's the reason why you called Julie. What is it?
Yeah, just think about the natural connection. For certain, Jen saw Karen's SUV in front of the house at 34 Fairview, right?
Jen seeing Karen's SUV.
Jen saw, so she knew that Karen was there. She's the one who told Karen, you were at 34 Fairview. Let's go back there and check it out. For some reason, Karen didn't remember that and didn't want to go back there initially. So if you see John there, it's natural to conclude in your brain that John got out of the car. How else would he be on the front lawn if you're Jen and you're innocent?
Okay. I can agree with that.
It doesn't, but again, look, for me, I want to be proven wrong. Whenever I say a hypothesis, it's obviously a hypothesis. You test it, and then if it's valid, you keep it. But if you show me something that contradicts it, then I'm willing, obviously, to change. And I have changed the hypothesis with regard to you did. Now, when I say that Brian Patrick Head did, I'm risking everything, man. I'm risking all my life, all my money, technically, that's here, that he could easily sue me for defamation if I'm wrong. There's no reason why he wouldn't. Karen and Aiden are the hardest sells. They'll eventually have money, right? Eventually. And they may be protected in their defamatory statements because of their petitioning activity thing. I'm saying this affirmatively. I'm taking a huge risk by saying this every single day. I'm not saying this flippantly. I'm not saying this without thorough research. And I could be wrong, right? So I do make this claim that that's what it is. Obviously, everything you say is in your opinion. You could say, in my opinion, all you want. The law doesn't care. Everything you say is your opinion if you're saying it, unless you're reading it or something like that. So you don't have to say that disclaimer. You can't hide from a defamation claim by saying, in my opinion. That doesn't matter. I'm saying affirmatively Brian Patrick Higgins was involved in the death of John O'Keefe. I say it every day. And nothing has come my way, but that doesn't prove that he's not involved. You know what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't prove that he's not involved, but it's a very easy case to win if he wasn't involved. And he should have filed it a long time ago.
So you think that they're going to come for you? Is that what you think?
Well, you hear my theories. I don't believe that anyone affirmatively was involved besides Brian Patrick and most likely Brian Albert, but I only say affirmatively Brian Higgins. So they won't be able to all sue me. Right? So that's not my theory, and it never has been, at least not publicly. So yeah.
Well, I mean, to your point though, like this is a publicized case though. I mean, there's been movies on it. There's been all different types of things to it, and there's been a trial. And I'm going, and to your point, you're saying without a shadow of a doubt that Higgins did this. I mean, technically, to your point, we don't know what happened. Is it with all these crazy thoughts that we have? Is it just as simple? And can you see it just as simple that she hit him, and none of them seen the body, and then she talked to Aiden. Aiden was a dummy, so to speak, right? I mean, that with all due respect, and he believed this, and he just used what he had on the internet to help do what it did, and it caught fire, and here we are. I mean, is it easier to believe that Karen just did it and conspired, or is it or something else happened? And you being a lawyer, isn't this what true crime does, though? There's always these crazy takes. There was a take recently with the Lindsay Clancy case. People are saying to question the husband. Like, there's all different types of takes, right?
Yeah, and law is one thing and entertainment's another. And this is why this case is compelling, is because we don't know the exact answer, but that doesn't mean you can't solve it. Now, when I come in and I say that it's simple, in reality, I'm really doing what the FBI would normally do, or anyone that's doing an investigation would do. And I say this is my first murder investigation, but you have to limit down the suspects, right? If you weren't there, then you couldn't have killed John O'Keefe. You could not have killed John O'Keefe, so you're eliminated, right? So like, you have to give me people, and either they're going to stay in or be eliminated, and then you start to narrow it down. And then the biggest thing that you didn't have, that everyone else was not made aware of, including Aiden, was that there was someone that had a huge fucking motive. And there was someone that was on video taunting John, and there was someone that texted John minutes before he was killed, right? So when you look back at that, you're not chasing little Colin Albert or even Brian Albert and beating. John was not beat to death. Those injuries are not from beating. They're not at all. And I didn't realize that you can get those black eyes that are there from hitting the back of your head.
Right.
That was one thing. Yeah, again.
No, go ahead. I'm listening.
The one thing that when people said, oh, Scanlon came up with this, I didn't realize that he's just kind of like a knockaround guy who heard Lally talking about the injuries, and he came up with a theory. The question is, why wasn't Karen's attorneys coming up with this theory? But you don't need Scanlon to do this, but that's just the way it works. It's so easy for me to sit here and look back in hindsight and say, oh, this is what they should have done as attorneys, right? I know that. It's easy me sitting here. I'm risking literally nothing besides all my money, saying that Higgins is involved. But in terms of who these attorneys were and what they were doing at the time, they were not being told by Karen about this huge critical issue. And I know I keep coming back to it, but because there's only 10 people, you have to disclose this to your attorneys. You just have to.
So why wouldn't anybody just turn on Higgins at this point?
No one knows about it. Because
he did it.
Yeah, everyone asks me that all the time. I don't have any proof that anyone knew about what Higgins did except for Brian Higgins and Brian Albert. Brian Albert can go to his grave with this. Brian Higgins could too. Everyone else, you'll eventually get the flip if they knew.
So you mean to tell me you think Brian Albert, if he knew about this, right, and you think at this point in his life, right, considering that he's a face of this, he wouldn't just turn on him and just say, hey, he did this shit, man, and that's it, and just call it a day with all
sorry to cut you off. He could turn on him in theory, legally, but he's the type of guy that's going to go in. So here's my theory. Eventually, these two guys are talking at the side of a house. There's one punch thrown. John is knocked out on his feet. He hits something, a ridge surface, the back of his head. You're out.
What about the things on his arm, the dog bites, alleged dog bites? Where'd that come from?
Fine. And that's something where it's not going to come from this initial contact. This contact is 3 to 4 seconds max. I mean, if you're into the fight game or watch fight, when you get knocked out, you hit on the button, you're knocked out on your feet. The biggest fear I always have is that, like, fighting anybody is not punching them. You'll never die from a punch. You'll die from hitting the back of your head because it's so sensitive. And John hit a ridge surface with the back of his head. He was not beat to death at all. There was no basement beating. There was only evidence of one punch, and that will easily do this. The real injury came from when he hit the back of his head. Now, those eye injuries, I never knew coup contra coup. I never understood that until this case. So when you saw John, you probably think, oh, he did go 10 rounds with Mike Tyson. He didn't. The eyes were actually blown up. You could see it. It's different than a black eye. It's because the brain actually went forward and cracked his orbital. So that's all that occurred. There was literally one punch and one hit to the back of the head. There's no time for Chloe to jump in. Now, I do believe at some point, so let's just have it. It's 12:32. John's knocked out. Brian Higgins has to get help. He doesn't know what to do. He goes and gets Brian Albert. Those two have to stash the body and figure out how to plant it later on in the night. It could be that simple. And that's where the evidence is.
But
Now,
where's the dog bites come in?
Okay, so where's the body? I mean, no matter who we're talking about, where's the body at 2:30 in the morning?
So you mean the dog just went up and gnawed on his arm? He was
I don't
hungry?
think a dog
Wanted-
would do that. I think that Brian would have to be moving the body for the dog to actually start gnawing on an arm, right? I don't know. I know dogs, but
That's a tough
I feel like when dogs are just laid out, if you're just laying out, I don't think a dog's going to start gnawing on your arm.
No.
I just don't
No.
think. But at some point, Brian Albert and/or Brian Higgins has to move this body. That body was not on the lawn at 12:30, but it was there at 5:45, 6 o'clock, right? So there has to be a movement of the body. There also has to be a storing of the body. Like, we never really talk about where the body is at 1:30 in the morning. Like, where is John's body? It could only be in a small area. Where do you think it is?
I mean, at first we heard it was in the basement, right? I mean, we heard John was in the basement, and it makes sense. Like, to me, it makes sense. Like, that's his little room down there. You had the weights down there, and that's where they were hanging out. And I feel like he walked in, and the kitchen was off to the right, and it was like, hey, come down here. He walked down the stairs, and then, one thing led to another, and, it got loud, and it just happened fast, to your point. Boom, 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 boom. So, yeah, he was in the basement, and I
Yeah.
think that, that's where he could have been. He could have been in the basement for sure, because then to Alan Jackson, the doors open up in the basement, and then there's the flagpole right there.
Yeah, and
the
that makes
bulkhead.
sense. Supposedly, Karen's team is not on that theory anymore. Now, we do have the movement.
They say the
of Ja-
garage, right?
Yeah, well, yeah, or something, because there were the 3 flights, and sort of that was disproven with the time for which they arrived. Like, it just wasn't necessarily possible, technically, to have 3 flight ascensions, like going up 3 flights before 12:40 when they actually get there. So it's tough. It's not indicative of what the data sets forth, and including John moving around before 12:24 and 36 seconds when he gets there. But the question is, like, where is the body from 1:30 to 5:30? And you have to move this body too. So and you have to not have any movement on the phone, because there is no movement on the phone after 1:32.
So you think when you seen Higgins going inside that police station, you think he just committed a murder? Well, he didn't know. Obviously it was a hit. He banged his head, but at that point he knows he's in some shit, and that's what his type of mood or whatever. That's what you're seeing on camera. That's what you see.
Yeah, I don't see any other reason why he would go to the Canton police station, and the fact that he offered that he was on video, which is so critical. He wasn't asked if he was, but he offers during a question that he was on video. I'm sure there's video of it. He knew that he was setting something up for that time frame. I'm not sure if he went back to 34 Fairview. That's what I believe happened. And
So when they're having that powwow at that point, you mean Higgins and Brian A is like, we did this, and none of them people knew. At that morning, nobody knew.
you have to accept that that could be a very huge probability. I've never in my entire life seen anyone commit a murder and then sue for defamation over it. Now, Higgins and Albert are in this lawsuit, this defamation lawsuit. They don't want to be. Jen McCabe wants vengeance for what happened. Now, if she was innocent, if you were innocent, if it was your mom or your sister, if you have one, they would want vengeance for being falsely accused of being involved in a murder. They would file that lawsuit. I've never seen a criminal that is guilty of murder bring more attention to themselves by actually filing a lawsuit. Did you ever see the Donna Adelson case at all?
No.
She's a Jewish mother-in-law that put a hit out on her son-in-law, but they did it and they got away with it for years. Then the FBI bumped them and tried to fuck with them a little bit. They were so afraid to even call the cops because they're getting shook down by a gangster in theory, but it was the FBI, meaning that they were so afraid to bring attention to themselves, they wouldn't even call the cops when they're getting threatened by somebody. I can't imagine Jen McCabe knowingly killed John O'Keefe, know that John was dying and left them there, and Google how to kill him, how long before he dies, and then files a lawsuit bringing so much more attention to it. It could be, but it would be so radical for her to do.
Well, what is she supposed to do? Is there a blue?
Is there run and hide, man?
Is there?
There's a blueprint.
There's a blueprint. You run and hide.
Yeah, you know what it is. You go to Maine. You run as far as you can, and you never talk about it ever again. Brian Albert and Brian Higgins.
Yeah, but as
know
long
that.
as but they know that. But that's what happened. The internet took it, man. Your boy TB, bro, my best friend, took it. You know what I
Now,
mean?
what's the issue with you two? Obviously, I can sense that there's some animosity. What actually caused it?
Just there was a recording that ended up in the hands of he recorded Karen, and that's what started it, and then it ended up in the hands of the government, and then extractions and all these different things to make just to make it sloppy. That's all. I just have a take on it. I think it was sloppy. I think that he helped her, and also now we are where we are now. It really doesn't make a difference what I feel about him now or what he feels about me. In the end, they got a Netflix documentary coming out, and they got the power coming out in the fall. Now, to what I talked earlier about Mackenzie Shirilla, like that case was an old case, and when that crash documentary came out, it made it go crazy again. The question is, when this comes out on Netflix, right, which is the biggest, I think, number one in my opinion of streaming services, does this cause a whole new direction of this case where people are like, Karen and this dude did this and conspired? Because to that point, to that question, listen to what Karen says.
The morning O'Keefe's body was found. I said, could I have hit him? Did I hit him?
How could that have been? I mean, you dropped him off at the house.
I don't know what else could have been. It was howling wind. I had YouTube blasting on the stereo, and I thought, did he somehow try to flag me down, which was the reaction I was hoping to garner as I slowly pulled away from the house. Did he come out and maybe trip or bend over to pick up his cell phone, and I ran over his foot, and then he passed out drunk? I mean, I didn't think I hit him, but could I have clipped him?
And these are all the things that she said. And to talk about the TB situation, TB had some people in his corner, right? An ex-girlfriend that decided, allegedly, this is all allegedly, I don't know if she did it or not. And at this point, it doesn't make a difference. The point is, all the information that they had, the correspondence between Karen and Turtle Boy got leaked out, which was crazy. Sounds nuts. And then you have this woman named Kate Peters, who is, to your point, is a videographer, editor like you have, and I'm a videographer myself. And she's editing it all up. She's piecing it all together. And it's looking wild. And to everything you just said, this conspiracy, what you're saying, the body moved and a dog came down and bit him when they were moving the dog, and me saying that Jen might have known, and we got all these wild takes. Is it just easier to think that Karen just fucking hit him out of her own mouth, saying, I hit him, I clipped him in the knee, talked to this dude, Turtle Boy. He didn't do the right thing, and he just took her word for it. And now that's where we are, and we all got duped. Is it easier just to think that?
Yeah, it is. And I heard that in a similar case where the cops want it that easy, right? They want to get this case. They want to see that it was a car accident and then move on. And that's really what they did in their minds. So yeah, that could be the situation. But in reality, the law should never care, right? Because no matter what Karen says, and what she said there was completely innocent, meaning she's not even hiding the fact that, yeah, maybe I clipped him, right? That would be your natural thought. The problem is, it doesn't matter what she says. John doesn't have the injuries of being clipped. When you get hit by a car at 26 miles an hour, you will have significant bruising, significant breaking. You will see it all. I've done a lot of car accidents too, so you see what happens when people get hit by cars, even if they're moving a lot slower. So yeah, it doesn't matter what Karen said or what Turtle Boy said. And your state's fucked up with regard to recording people. I didn't realize how serious it is. Like, my friend went to the gala. She didn't even tell me. She kind of blew it because she could have hooked up with Higgins. I don't know if you knew this, but like, she went to that gala that they were having. Yeah, and like, she was sitting at Higgins' table. Now, this is my good friend, right? Like, she's been a huge Howard Stern fan for years. I didn't know she was going, and she went.
Wow.
And I think for her, everyone was recording that event anyway. It's a public event, but still, your state is very odd when it comes to recording people. Like, we don't prosecute people here for that. I mean, that's not really what the law was
Well, it
made
wasn't
for.
so much. Yeah. The recording, the wiretap laws are definitely, wild, but it's the intention though. If you're recording someone behind their back and they don't know, and and with Karen Reed, 2 murder trials, maybe you wouldn't want to record. And the context of the things she said, like the things that got leaked out. Do you know it's on my phones? Like if I was recording her and she said that, I probably would erase that shit because that sounds crazy, right? That's just me. That's my opinion. But the point is, it ended up getting leaked, and the extractions of his phones ended up getting leaked. And so, like what you do on your page, making these videos about Brian Higgins, that's what they're about to do on this Netflix documentary. They're about to make their run at this. And on top of that, there's an article that just came out by Gretchen Voss, who basically gave us indicators that that's the direction they're going in. And they have Karen's own words, and they're going to use clips like this. And and that's and like I said, does it blow up? And everybody's like, you guys got fooled, that wicked witch. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so that's where we're at with it, And so they're going on their run.
If you get to a cool point in your life where you welcome the criticism, everyone says, I want everyone to have open debate. But the second someone criticizes them, they're blocking people. Like, so what? Like, let's say they come up with the best Netflix thing and it shows, at least tries to, that Karen was guilty. You should welcome that, because that makes your case so much stronger. You will never find growth surrounding yourself with everyone that agrees with you, right? You want to bring in these people. I want my theories tested. I never cared if people were bashing me about the theory. I want the actual facts. So I learned a lot from even the forensic girls. I mean, I am mesmerized by Tuesday and Lydia. I'm like in love with those two. But either way, like, I mean, for some reason, like Lydia hates me so much that I kind of like it. Like she's just so mean to me. Now, Tuesday, you would admit, is beautiful, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely, brother.
Yes or no?
Absolutely.
I mean, like, either she is or she... Yeah, exactly. Tuesday, the beautiful blonde girl from the forensic room.
Tuesday, the girl from the... Yeah, man. I give respect to the ladies. All ladies are beautiful.
Yeah. Now, those super chats, I do want to read them because they were for expensive amounts from Josie Lou. I don't know if we did.
What did she say? Let me see. She said...
we should at least respect it.
She says, intern chief... Yeah, I got it. I can't pull it up because something's up in my dashboard. Intern chief of police Greg Long lived less than 4 minutes from a 34 Fairview. Why say Boston police down? Why not say Boston police down? Imagine Karen Reed with Fall River accent. JFK to info. She would have a loyal, knowledgeable, well-versed individual. JFK is the man. I appreciate you. And then JFK take him to school. Waterfall, she says. That's what I got from Josie Lou. Am I missing
Josie
anything?
Lou, where's the super chats nice about me?
Yeah. Well,
Josie Lou.
Yeah. Well, Josie has her takes. She's a mod on this channel. She's been rocking with the boys for a while. But I'll just say this. I'll say that you say why would they want a defamation suit and why they would want to push this. I don't think Jen wants the smoke, so to speak. And I think Jen knows with this Netflix and knows with the internet, she can turn this around and she wants the W. She wants the win. And I think that's what they're circling, the shocks. They got the mainstream media on their side. And I think they're circling and they're trying to turn this around. And based on the sloppiness of what happened with phone calls and extractions, this is what they're looking at. They're looking for the W. They're looking for their time to shine. I think that's why she did it. Now you're saying run and hide if they were guilty. I mean, it's 2026. It's a new world, new media. She's turning to her, her rights and using the new media to turn this around, whether guilty or not guilty.
Yeah, and that's a great point, because even though I'll take shots at Karen for not disclosing Brian Higgins' the affair, she doesn't have to, right? She doesn't have to do anything. She did what she did. In fact, I believe that she really hoodwinked the fucking federal government into investigating this, right? Because how many times is there a federal investigation where they can't even get an indictment? I mean, that's embarrassing to the federal government. But I am not faulting Karen or David Nettie. That's fucking great on their part. They got all the information with regard to Proctor from it, right? So it's like there are benefits to things that you think are negative, and you have to switch them up. Go ahead.
I'm going to say this. And I'm glad you just brought up the federal thing. That's what slipped my mind. They're going to use that in that documentary that they were investigated by the feds. Colin got bullied by the Adam Deitch, and they didn't get indicted by the feds. And that can make people say, what? The feds were involved in this? Now, people try to dumb down that whole thing. Oh, federal grand jury, big deal. Really?
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure you know, if you've been around anyone that's ever been in any type of criminal activity, they know you can't beat the feds, no matter what. They will beat you every time. And the percentage they always say is like 99.9%. It's probably even higher because almost everyone settles any type of criminal case against the federal government. I've never even seen them bring an investigation and get no indictments after all they were doing. But it seemed compelling, right? You're getting Karen Reed, who's a stand-up girl. You have David Yannetti there telling you and feeding you all this stuff. And it sort of looked like it was fitting. And then they got a hit with Proctor, right? So they start seeing Proctor's text message, and that is not really relevant to the case, but it must look fucking like we're onto something. Maybe they are onto something. And again, I'm not faulting Karen. You have to do whatever you can. Even if she defamed little Colin Albert, so fucking what? In the end, that's just money, right? Her life was on the line. She should have been in jail in theory. She was 3 people away from spending 20 years in prison. Do you know how fucking crazy that is? And a majority of that was because they lost focus. They're on the Colin thing. They're on the Chris Albert thing. They had nothing to do with this murder, like nothing. And they just didn't know where to focus. And it went completely haywire, meaning that 9 people believed that Karen Reed was guilty. That's scary. And that was with Trooper
scary.
Paul. And they brought in a ring. I mean, if you had, and I asked this question to everyone, if you were convicted or at least accused of murder and you could choose one attorney from this entire group, who would you choose to defend you? From the plaintiffs or the prosecution, trial 1, trial 2?
That's a great question.
Your life is on the line.
My life is on the line. And it's got to be one of them.
Yep. Could be Lally. Could be Liza Little. Could be
I would
anyone.
I would want Hank Brennan.
Me too. And he's a grandmaster. So when I speak about attorneys, like people look at, oh, what about Alan Jackson? Alan Jackson is okay, but he's not a grandmaster like Hank. I mean, Hank is a different level. And when I say grandmaster, these are people that you can recognize a grandmaster straight away. And you talk about like the F. Lee Baileys, the school that they come from. And I always criticize Alan Jackson because he's still reading. I don't understand this. Like he does the open and closing. You can never read. It's just so bad when you do it. But prosecutors don't necessarily make the best defense attorneys. This is not putting down Alan Jackson. He did fine, I guess, during both trials, right? But there was a lot going into this. And you're right, Hank Brennan is a grandmaster. He's above and beyond all those attorneys that were there.
Well, he thought, he thinks Whitey Bulge is not a rat. You know what I mean? He went against the federal government. Like he gets creative, you know what I mean? And he's not afraid. He comes from a different cloth. And I'm familiar with Hank Brennan, with the lawyers and where he practiced. And yeah, he's a force for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even know who Whitey Bulge is really. I have no idea what's going on with that.
He was a South Boston mobster, and he got caught something like 15 years later. And he was known. They were saying that he was a federal informant, and so while he was in federal court, he made a deal. He said, Whitey will testify and tell you everything that happened as long as you guys say he never had a card. He never had that informant card. So basically he was trying to save Whitey's life in prison so he wouldn't get messed up. So, and I always say if Hank Brennan thinks Whitey Bulge is not a rat, how could he think Karen Reed is guilty? It just doesn't make sense.
And that's the thing. It's like the one situation as an attorney where it's not win at all costs is when you're a prosecutor. Meaning once you learn the truth, then that's it. You should drop the case. That case should never have been brought. And that's the one fault they have with Hank Brennan. I know he's hired to represent the state, but you have a different obligation as a prosecutor. It's not get a conviction at all costs. It's find the truth. I know it sounds cheesy, but that's what it is.
No, that's what it is. That's 1,000%. And, people talk shit about Vinny all the time, and Vinny always stresses that from court TV. It's about the truth. Just lay out your case. And I always say that if Vinny was the DA in this case, he probably would have dropped it down to a lower charge and or if he was a juror on this case, he wouldn't have found it guilty. He doesn't really have a take on it one way or another. He says he doesn't go with conspiracies, but it is what it is, right, at this point. So what do you feel about Vinny Politan?
And it's funny because I used to work at this firm. I think it was at 666 2nd Avenue. And I would see the crew from Court TV. And at the time, this is like 20 years ago, it was a big deal, right? and you see Vinnie Politan at the deli, and it's like, oh my God, I saw Vinnie Politan. Dude, when I saw Vinnie Politan on a YouTube channel, he's running in general admission, trying to get Turtle Boy's attention from the crowd because he wasn't even like media passed into the court. I'm like, man, this world of entertainment has changed completely. Where I mean, like, he's begging like a fan, like Turtle Boy, like, okay. And I couldn't believe it, like how much things have changed now because anyone can broadcast.
Yeah, the new media for sure. Yeah, definitely.
Crazy.
I agree. And he's doing his thing though. He parlayed into his own podcast now. He's figuring it out. And he's the OG of it. But he does speak fact to your point about the DA. It's about the truth. It's not about winning.
Yeah, they say that, but I guess it's tough when you're a district attorney because everyone's competitive, but it doesn't matter. Ethically, you're bound by our rules, and once you realize that Karen Reed is not guilty and it's impossible for her to have hit John O'Keefe with an SUV, you have to move on. Right? And
But
you have to
isn't
move on
it a
for the better.
But isn't it a mind fuck that here he is in a closing argument, Hank Brennan, right? Basically saying, find her guilty, give her life in prison. They come back not guilty, get her on the DWI. And then he's like, yeah, we'll go with the lowest sentence, probation. You think at that point he'd be like, give her 2 years, like the full statute of it. Instead, he's like, yeah, okay. And that goes to show you about, I always talk about the stomach of lawyers and how they're built different. To them, it's what the jury says. It's not like buying into this feeling and like who you believe. If the jury says not guilty, and I give respect for that he could have turned around and took it personal and went to Bev and said, we want to give her 2 years. And she probably would have said, okay, we'll give her a year in jail. She could have did a year for that drunk driving. But instead he was like, you know what? She beat the fucking case. It is what it is. Give her probation like the rest of them. And that's a switch up. That's
a great point. And it's respectful to both him and to Bev because she could have done whatever she wanted. She's a judge. It doesn't matter what he asked for, right? Everyone was fearful that, he's going to ask for the max and she's going to give the max. In the end, justice did prevail. I mean, the system is weird. It's not perfect by far, but it actually prevailed. The first trial, mistrial. Second trial, they're allowed to do it again. And yeah, she got convicted of the DUI, but she didn't get any jail time, as you said. And yeah, they could have asked for more. Both were respectful to the system in theory, and everyone didn't believe that they would be. But when push came to shove, both of them showed by their actions that they were going by what the law is.
Right. I got one more question. What do you feel that's going to happen with Turtle Boy's case? A quick take on that. I'm sure Turtle Boy would love to hear this. My best friend, peace to Turtle Boy.
I'm not really into like what he's being accused of.
Well, witness intimidation. The same thing Higgins was saying. Do you know anything about the statute? I guess the statute's a little different in Massachusetts.
Yeah, a little bit. However, like witness intimidation, like most crimes, have to deal with your intent. I believe we all wanted them to testify. In the end, they all testified, right? No one was prevented from testifying.
Great point.
Both trials, right? So like you look at the outcome, and I'm sure Turtle Boy's attorneys will come to the end game is they all testified as much as they wanted to. Whether it's trial 1, trial 2, or both. No one stopped them. In fact, I would say that Aiden wants them to testify, not just for what they're doing, but also for his business. The more they testify, the more we learn, the better it is for all of us in YouTube world and everything. So if your intent is for them to always testify, everything else is nonsense. It doesn't matter. So it will go to his intent. I never read the statute, but I know for certain that if you're trying to intimidate a witness, you're trying to do it either to sway their testimony or not testify. Right. And none of them can ever honestly say that they couldn't testify because they did, and that they had their testimony swayed because of Aiden Carney.
You know what, Loophole Lawyer? That is one way to put a bow on this. Holy shit. Aiden Kearney, man, Loophole Lawyer. That's coming from a lawyer, respected man. That's how it's fucking done. That's how you put a bow on it. Listen, my man, I appreciate you, man, coming up here, man, kicking it, my brother. And if you want me to, if you do a live stream, you need me to jump on and talk some shit. I'm here.
I need some friends in this LawTube world. Everyone's turning on me.
You're always welcome to come back up here too. We'll have Kevy up here. You know what I mean? We'll have a powwow, man.
All right, man. I appreciate it. You got my email, so give me your cell phone and I can text you.
Yeah. I'll send it to you, my brother, for sure.
Bro. All right,
appreciate
thanks,
you, man. Peace and love. Peace. Loophole Lawyer, ladies and gentlemen. Loophole Lawyer. God damn. You know how he feels about this guy right here. Oh, he doesn't like this guy. Oh, man, he don't like him at all. He don't like him. How we feeling, people out there? How we feeling? Good show or what, huh?
Here's a rap song
Come on.
based on your lyrics and fame. You wrong, you wrong. Yeah. Yeah. This is Kevin from South Boston. Wait, is this Higgins? Higgins? Is that you? Nah. You wrong, they was decorated dudes. Acting like they real, but they faking up the truth. Medals on their chest, but they never paid the dues. I see through the lies, yeah, I know the real news. Is this Higgins? Nah, man, you wrong. Trying to test the kid, but I've been too strong. Came from the South where we hustle all night. No fake love here, gotta keep the game tight. You talking like you know me, but you really just guessing. See me on the rise, now they stressing, confessing. Boston on my back, and we moving like a legend. You wrong, better watch where you stepping. You wrong, they was decorated dudes. Acting like they real, but they faking up the truth. Medals on their chest, but they never paid the dues. I see through the lies, yeah, I know the real news. Kevin called my phone asking, is this Higgins? Told him, nah, my dude, must be something that you tripping. They was talking big, but the stories don't match. Said they run the city, but they never left the patch. I keep it 10 toes, I ain't playing with the clowns. Say they run the game, but they never been around. Moving in the dark, but I shine when it count. You wrong, time to show 'em what's about. Yeah, nah, man. You wrong. They was decorated dudes, but they ain't real. South Boston, stand up.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's my time, man. I appreciate it, man. It's been a wonderful show. I appreciate Jimmy T from LYNN, aka Prison Jimmy, coming on here. Loophole lawyer for sure. I'm glad that we did this. I love his we have a lawyer in the game too. We have a jailhouse lawyer, prison Jimmy, and we have Loophole. I love what he said about TB. I think it was a great show. All you content creators out there, go ahead, man, and play them clips, man. Go over some of that stuff. I thought it was interesting. And with that being said, I'll see you guys next flight. Peace. Thank you. All the mods, thank you. Everybody here, Josie Lou, all the super chatters, I appreciate it. If I didn't get to it, you know it's all love. You know I love all y'all. Peace. God